Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto Has Neglected Child of Minato and Kushina and Gained Chaos Powers Part 1. Before we start, please go support King Sora 3 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. The servers are the 7 chaos. Chaos is power enriched by the heart. The controller is one that unifies the chaos. This mantra has been passed down through the now extinct Knuckles clan from thousands of years ago. It describes the relationship between the Chaos Emeralds, Master Emerald, and their users. Chaos Emeralds, legends say they can transform your thoughts into power. If one collects all 7 of these emeralds, a miracle is supposed to happen and they grant the holder unlimited power. The Master Emerald, an ancient powerful relic with its origins shrouded in mystery. It is a gem that holds immeasurable power that acts as a counter to the Chaos Emeralds. The ancient clan used this mantra to unlock the emerald's full potential and use its power to help those in need. But there are also those who only want this power for their own selfish gain. However, there was something that always stood in their way from acquiring all of the emeralds, a creature the likes of which the clan, or anyone, has never seen or heard of. The creature's name is Chaos. Chaos was the first and original guardian of the Chaos Emeralds and Master Emerald. It wouldn't allow the people to abuse the power of the emeralds and use them for evil purposes. It was around during the time of the Master Emerald's birth. The mantra for it to control the Chaos Emeralds was also born. For a long time, Chaos has been guarding the emeralds from those that would want to use the emeralds, while also protecting its family, the Chow. But one day, Chaos met one member of the Knuckles clan, the clan that wanted the emeralds to win a war. And it shouldn't a girl named Tykel, who somehow found her way to the altar. Tykel would always spend her time coming over to play with Chaos and his brethren, developing a powerful bond and friendship that will last forever. Those were happy times. Sadly, those happy times had come to an end. Pachacamac, Tykel's father and the tyrant leader of the Knuckles clan, and his army made their way to the altar, with Tykel and the Chow preventing them from getting further. Ignoring her pleas, Pachacamac led his charge through Tykel and the Chow, knocking Tykel out while also killing the Chow. Chaos felt nothing but extreme anger for what happened to its friends and home. Its anger was so great, it caused Chaos to use the negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds and transform into a powerful destructive beast that not only destroyed nearly all of the Knuckles clan, but completely destroyed the world. Having no other choice, Tykel used the mantra to call upon the power of the Master Emerald and used it to seal Chaos along with herself. After a millennia of imprisonment, it was released by a madman in a plot to conquer the world. Despite initial cooperation, however, Chaos turned on the madman and tried to destroy the world, but was calmed by a hero. A hero that moves like the wind itself. After Chaos and Tykel were reunited, they departed to places unknown. Since then, Chaos only appears in times of great crisis. But out of all the crisis Chaos appears in, this one was the worst of it, because it was the end of the world of their world. Chaos Prologue. A world's demise. A bond that crossed over between dimensions. Chapter cover. Little Naruto is at the altar of the emeralds, standing in front of the Master Emerald with water sprouting out from below it, its powerful glow causing his shadow to stretch out and take the shape of Chaos Zero. Sonic's world. Why? Why? Tykel asked in a whisper as she fell on her knees, tears falling from her eyes. She cried out to the heavens. Why did this happen? Right now, Tykel was looking at the Master Emerald as it showed her visuals of many people and creatures either dead or dying. Even the world's greatest heroes were gone. Sobs escaped from Tykel's mouth as she cried out while covering her face. Sonic Tails, Amy, Big, even Knuckles. Her allies. Her dear friends who helped her save Chaos from his anger. They're all gone. Including the friends who were helping them trying to win this war. And yes, even Dr. Eggman, the madman who brought this destruction on this world by using a power he doesn't understand how to use. As Tykel continued to weep in sorrow, a neutral Chow floated right next to her, a sad and scared look on its face. Chow the Chow tugged on Tykel's skirt, making her look down at it. It pointed at the sky. Chow Chow. Tykel looked up and saw the moon. Normally, the sun would be out since it's still the afternoon. But because of Dr. Eggman using the Phantom Ruby inside his Death Egg robot caused some horrifying after effects. In the sun's place was a crimson misty moon, and it was heading straight towards the earth. Even the sky itself was red and was glitchy. But that's not all that happened. Despite the Phantom Ruby being gone, it created space-time rifts that caused unbelievable natural disasters that erupted from all over the planet. And if that wasn't worse, the rift somehow brought monsters, the likes of which they had never seen before, into their world. Now, it's going to be a matter of time before the moon comes crashing to the planet. Tykel looks at the moon before looking down from the altar as she sees many Chow, wisps and animals frantically looking at the moon in panic. Everyone. Tykel puts a hand to her chest and closes her eyes as tears continue to fall. Please, there has to be something we can do, we have to save everyone here. As Tykel continued her pleas, she opened her eyes as she felt the Master Emerald glowing. She looked back at it and saw Chaos walking out. Chaos. Chaos looks up at the moon, then to Tycho and the surviving creatures. It turned its attention to Tycho as its eyes glowed. What? Tycho's eyes widened in surprise. Chaos made gestures by waving its arms all the while. See Chaos, you can't be serious, can you? Chaos nodded. But you're talking about taking Angel Island and teleporting it to another dimension, Tycho told him, a shocked expression on her face. That sounds crazy. Chaos could never do something like that. It doesn't even know how to do chaos control. Do you have any idea the amount of chaos energy is needed? Where would it even go? Tycho asked. She didn't want the island to go to a world where there could be dangers lurking about, especially with the remaining surviving Chow, animals and wisps. Instead of replying, Chaos grabbed Tycho's hand and brought her to the Master Emerald. Together, they touched it just as the Master Emerald started to glow. The moment it did, Tycho's eyes began to glow and she looked like she's in a trance. After a couple of seconds, the glow vanished as Tycho closed her eyes, a soft smile on her face. I see. Tycho opens her eyes and looks at Chaos. I understand now, Chaos. She looks down, her smile turning sad as tears gathered in her eyes. I guess this is goodbye, huh? Chaos placed his hand on her shoulder, getting her attention. It shook its head before it pointed at Tycho's heart, then to its own heart. Yes. Tycho said, wiping the tears away. That's right. When we leave here and go to that dimension, we'll be. She shook her head. No. We'll always live on inside them. They'll meet each other someday, and when they do, it'll be like we're together again but starting over. She giggled as Chaos nodded while I smiling at her as though he was laughing. The two stopped as they felt the world shake. Ignoring the cries of the creatures below them, they looked up at the moon and saw it was getting closer to hitting the earth. It was time to move. Tycho and Chaos watched the glitching red moon before they held their hands. A rare determined look appears on Tycho's face. She and Chaos turn to each other and nod their heads. Tycho closed her eyes. The 7 Chaos are the servers. Chaos's power, enriched by the heart. The controller serves to unify the chaos. All 7 Chaos Emeralds appeared, circling around the Master Emerald as they started to glow. Chaos itself is glowing all around its body. Oh powerful emeralds, hear my voice. Please, send Angel Island and its residents to a new world. To the world where the light called out to us. Tycho and Chaos began to float in the air as a pink aura appeared around Tycho, while Chaos, the Master Emerald and the Chaos Emeralds began to glow. The light show caught the attention of the animals, Chow and wisps as they turned to it in confusion, not paying attention to the rushing red moon. Tycho's eyes glowed pink as a smile forms on her face. We leave the future of Angel Island to him. To both of them. One final tear slid down her eyes as she thought about her fallen friends. Farewell, my friends. A bright light came out of the Master Emerald and it enveloped all of Angel Island and its surrounding area. The light vanished just as the red glitching moon came crashing down on the planet, resulting in a powerful explosion. The Shinobi World. 7 years after Nine-Tails' attack. Ha ha ha. In a cloudless night sky, near the border of the Land of Fire, a 7-year-old boy huffed tiredly as he continued to run away without looking back. Right now, this boy is running through a forest, far away from his now former home, the Hidden Leaf Village. His clothes, only consisting of a simple white shirt and orange shorts, were all dirty and torn in some places, more than likely from the mud and shark tree branches he ran into. He has blue eyes, spiky hair as bright as the sun, and 3 whisker-like markings on his cheek. The boy also carried a backpack with him, which seems to have spare clothes, some food and snacks. Their world is gone. I think I made it far enough, the blonde boy said tiredly. Before he could stop running, he tripped on a root and fell on the ground. The boy laid there for a couple of minutes, but then he began to tremble. He slowly got up and walked over to a tree. Why? Why was I born without chakra? Why am I still alive? Why am I always the one to be treated like that? Like I wasn't worth their attention. He sat down and put his knees in front of him. The boy starts to tremble uncontrollably as sniffs are heard. Memories of his life at the Hidden Leaf Village began to flash in his head, with many grown-ups and kids looking at him. Why? Tears and snot were now running down his now dirty face as he remembered the looks his family gave him before they turned away from him. Chaos and Tycho used everything in their power to send Angel Island to the world where the Master Emerald showed them. To the small light that called out to them. Why don't they love me? The child cried in anguish. As he sat by the tree, releasing his pent-up emotions, he didn't pay attention to the fact that the ground got muddier to the point he began to move slightly, stopping his crying for a brief moment. He gave a yell as he slid down a slope, luckily missing any trees or rocks that were in the way. His eyes widened in fear when he saw the end of the slope which led to a cliff. He so desperately tried to stop sliding, but because of the rain and mud it was useless. He screamed as he fell off the cliff and was falling towards the deep blue sea. With no other option, he closed his eyes and braced himself as he landed in the waters, making a small splash. Sadly, the small boy's body can't handle a fall like that from such a height, and because of the raging waters entering his lungs, he was beginning to lose consciousness. No way am I going to die. The boy asked himself. Please no, I don't want to. As the unconscious boy slowly fell deeper into the ocean, a small glowing green light appeared in front of him. The light began to grow bigger, while at the same time it glowed brighter, which made the boy open his eyes slightly. Their story may be over, but a new story has started. For it takes place here in our world. The boy then closed his eyes once again, just as the green light covered his being, and he vanished. Angel Island. High above the sky stood Angel Island in all its glory. All was quiet on the mysterious island as its local residents were sound asleep in their homes. Suddenly, a green light appeared, and the little boy from before appeared falling to the ground face first. He got on his knees, coughing and throwing up the water out of his lungs. He coughed a few times to make sure the water was out of his system. Oh man, that was close, that light saved me, the boy said in relief. He then blinks as he looks at the soft green grass. Wait, what was that light? He instantly stood up and his eyes widened comically. He looks around at the scene. He is now standing in front of a long bridge of some sort leading towards a small island. He looked down at the bridge, seeing crystal clear water below it. Where am I? Did that strange light bring me here? Why? The boy asked frantically as he ran around in circles, comically waving his arms up and down. The boy suddenly stopped as he saw something glowing across from the bridge. He narrowed his eyes at that as he realized that it was the same color as the light he saw just now. Time to get to the bottom of this. He ran off across the bridge to where the glowing light is at, completely unaware that he was being watched by multiple pairs of eyes. Chow chow. As the boy made it across the bridge, he stopped and found himself awestruck. Wow, he was staring at an altar. The altar was surrounded by a giant wall built upon by large pillars. The inner sanctuary consisted of 7 pillars, each which had a small emerald around them. The emeralds were also in different colors: green, blue, red, yellow, turquoise, purple and white. The pillars themselves also seemed to be glowing based on wherever the emeralds were placed. Wow, are those emeralds glowing? They're so pretty. Naruto said, staring at the emeralds. This is honestly the first time he's ever seen any emeralds that were actually glowing. The boy continued to walk around the altar, admiring it. Just looking at it made the boy think it was very old, but at the same time still brand new. It looked like the altar got destroyed at first, but it also looked like someone actually made it look more new and nice. The whiskered boy also quickly noticed the set of stairs in the central shrine of the altar. In fact, looking at it now, the central shrine hosts a low-set pedestal for something to rest on, which also acted like a fountain from where water poured from. A fountain too. That's so cool, the boy said in excitement. He looked up at the stairs and saw the glowing green light. The boy slapped his cheeks in anticipation before running up the steps. Let's see what's up there. The moment the boy reached the top of the central shrine, his jaw dropped in comical shock, disbelief and awe. Whoa, now that's what I call a big diamond. There, sitting in the pedestal is a massive glowing green emerald that looks just like the smaller ones. Taking a quick look around, the boy could see the stone pedestal was surrounded by green grass and bushes with few palm trees. Circling around the grass was what looked like a miniature swimming pool for small animals to enjoy. The boy turns his attention back to the emerald and starts to examine it, which looks as though he's comically appearing around it, with sparkles in his eyes. This has got to be the biggest emerald I've ever seen. With something like this, anybody could be rich beyond their wildest dreams. This story is about a boy who gained the power of chaos and the challenges he faced as he protects his home and loved ones from many dangerous and powerful threats. To the boy, he honestly couldn't believe what he was looking at right now. Back in the Leaf Village, he's seen all kinds of diamonds and such at the jewelry store. But this. Seeing an emerald as large as this out here by itself. This thing might be worth a fortune, and he's the first person to find it. How awesome is that? I must have found a long-lost treasure, he cheers happily. Awesome, awesome, awesome. He turned to the giant emerald and began to slowly walk around it. This is crazy. What's an emerald like this doing out here by itself? The boy stops walking and looks at the emerald. It was so weird seeing not only a large emerald, but to also see it glowing like that. He knew instantly that this emerald along with the smaller emeralds couldn't be normal. The boy who becomes the light of hope for those who are in need. The miracle they are searching for. The boy who will either save the world or destroy it. The whiskered boy slowly walks up to the large emerald. He held a finger and pokes it before running back comically as though something was gonna happen. When nothing happened, he laughed sheepishly. What am I thinking? It's just a diamond. The boy suddenly saw something move inside the emerald. He blinked and rubbed his eyes, looking at the emerald in confusion. What was that? He walks up in front of the emerald while taking his backpack off. As the boy stood in front of the emerald, trying to find whatever it was he saw in it, small creatures were seen coming out from the pillars staring at him with curious gazes. The small creatures looked at one another. Chow chow. Chow. Chow chow. The creatures said in a quiet voice so as to make sure the boy didn't hear them. They looked back at the human child, and their eyes went wide as they saw the boy raise a hand up slowly getting ready to touch the emerald. Their eyes widened further as they saw something overlapping the boy as he got closer to touch the emerald. It was a creature that resembled their dear friend, who's currently resting inside the emerald. But for some bizarre reason, he looked different. He looked more human. The moment the boy put his hand on it, he suddenly felt a surge of energy enter his being, making his eyes widen in surprise. Huh? He saw green energy circling down his arm and was around his body, making his hair float. Hey. The whiskered boy tried to move his hand away, but couldn't as it got stuck to the emerald. If he were to pay close enough attention, he would have seen that a large-fingered hand was holding him in place. What? Let go, I said, let go. As the boy struggled to get his hand off the emerald, it started to glow brighter and brighter, making the young boy close his eyes. The creatures who were watching looked on in shock as the boy rapidly shifted from his human to a form that resembled their friend inside the emerald before he went back to normal. The boy screamed as the brightness of the emerald started to hurt his eyes, while he also felt something wet wrapped around his wrist. He was then pulled inside the emerald head first as he kicked his feet to try to escape before they too were pulled in, making the boy's screams disappear. The emerald stopped glowing, and the creatures that watched him looked at each other in shock before looking back at the emerald. This is the story about the next chaos. This is my story. The Chaos Maelstrom, 6 years later. It was truly a wonderful day being out here in the big open sea. The smell of the fresh seawater, the wind hitting your face, hearing the sound of the seagulls and the dolphins jumping out of the ocean just to greet you before going on their merry way. Multiple loud victorious laughter were heard on board a big ship, along with the sound of beers clinking against each other as they drank to their heart's content. There was obviously a victory party going as the men of the ship continued their drinking, singing and even awkward dances at their latest victory. On the deck of the ship were valuable treasures, such as gold, jewels, diamonds, even ninja scrolls. Nearby, sitting on a chair was the captain of this ship. He has shoulder-length wavy, unkempt brown-colored hair and 3 purple-colored markings. One under each eye and the other running down the bridge of his nose. He also has 2 scars on either side of his face and wears a white ruffle shirt with a green vest over it, a pair of brown pants, gray gloves, a red trench coat and a pirate hat. He carries a sword that resembles a rapier tucked into the sash around his waist. This was Captain Gadaro, the most infamous and wanted pirate throughout the shinobi nations. He let a loud laugh as he stood up from his chair and stared at his crew. Listen up, boys, today is a great day for us. Not only did we get to kill those wimpy villagers from that small island, we gained a mountain load of that island's treasure, along with a few. The sick man licked his lips as he looked down at the open hole on the ship where their prizes were being held. Pleasurable company. The men cheered at their captain's words, while some had knowing smiles on their faces as they looked down at the hole, their eyes filled with twisted lustful desires. They were staring at a group of women that were dressed in rags and had chains on their wrists and legs. The women all range from young children to adults in their 20s or 30s. Some adult women were putting up a brave front as they glared hatefully at the pirates that attacked their home and killed the villagers, while the others were trying to calm the younger girls, who were desperately crying out for their fathers to come and save them. The teens looked at the men watching them with fearful expressions at seeing the look on their faces. Hey Captain, is it okay for us to try out some of those packages before we sell them off? A fat and ugly crew member asked, panting slightly as he began to unbutton his shirt while looking at the younger girls, prompting the adult women to hug them closer as they glared at the disgusting pig. Oh hell yeah, it's been too long since we had some action. I'm getting antsy right now, an older uglier man exclaimed, which made the captives shiver in disgust at them when they started cheering. Shut up, Gadro yelled angrily, and immediately everyone fell silent. Now listen the hell up, because I won't say it again. If anyone is going to get a taste of the merchandise, it's going to be me. He grinned in savage manner as he looked towards the captain's quarters. He reached his hand down to his privates and started to grip it. In fact, I got one that's already waiting for me right now in my room, a bit of a fighter that one is. Once I'm done breaking her, you lots can. The ship suddenly rocked harshly, making the crew and captives stumble and fall on the floor. What the buck, you jackass, what did you hit? Gadaro asked his navigator. And nothing, Captain, I swear I didn't hit anything, the navigator told his captain as he began to sweat bullets when he glared at him. Bullshit, you obviously hit something, what else could've? The ship shook again, this time harder than the last one before it suddenly stopped. Gadaro immediately went to the edge next to him and looked down at the ocean, trying to find out what it was that shook his ship. Men, look around to see if you see anything. The crew immediately followed their captain's order without question. While they were busy trying to find out what it was that shook the boat, nobody paid attention to the navigator, who was looking a little scared at the moment of what was going. He was so scared that he didn't pay attention to the fact that a hand, made out of water, reaching towards him. The navigator realized too late as the hand grabbed him, covering his mouth to keep him from screaming, before instantly pulling him into the ocean, which made a loud splash that caught the crew's attention. What was that? It sounded like it was coming from behind us. Adro was about to tell his men to go back for searching before he noticed someone amongst his crew was missing. "Hey," he said calmly, making them tense. "Where the hell is my navigator?" The crew looked at their captain in confusion before looking around and noted that the navigator was really gone. "Don't just stand there, you idiots, find him," Gadaro ordered them as they immediately started their search. In the lower deck where the captives were being held, they all heard the commotion going on outside, which made them feel a sense of hope rising in their hearts. They soon started to hear multiple loud splashes which sounded like the men fell into the ocean, along with hearing their screams of terror. They began to wonder if it were the shinobi that came to help them. Up on deck, Gadaro couldn't help but watch with shock as multiple water-like tentacles came out of the ocean, grabbing his men and pulling them all into the ocean. The captain quickly pulled out his sword and was waiting for one of them to come but didn't. They were only going for his crew. It wasn't long before Gadaro saw that he was by himself and the water tentacles had disappeared. He looked around while gripping his sword tightly. "What the hell is this one of you ninja bastards doing? Did you come all the way out here just to ruin my fun? What, was my crew too much for you? Would you drown them and leave me by myself? Well fine, why don't you come out here and face me?" While he was busy talking to the shinobi, he didn't see the large puddle of water that was moving towards him. A head popped out of the puddle and glared at Gadaro before going back into the puddle. The puddle then released a jet of water that knocked Gadaro to the door of his resting area. The girl, who looked to be 15 years of age, that he had binded on the bed, gave a startled yell when he came blasting through the door and landed in front of the bed. Gadaro stood up and had an angry look on his face, completely ignoring the blood that was trailing down his head. The evil pirate glared at the girl before cutting off her bindings and roughly grabbed her hair, dragging her outside while ignoring her cries. He forced her up and wrapped his arm around her neck as he pointed his sword at her cheek. "Enough games, shinobi, get your ass out here right now and face me or this little bitch dies, your choice," Gadaro demanded as the girl he held hostage looked scared. The other captives heard what he said and they gave out gasps. They silently prayed that the shinobi would save that poor girl and them. "Well, I'm still waiting, come out." Gadaro stopped mid-sentence as he finally noticed the puddle that was on his deck. The pirate and the girl became shocked when they saw the water puddle rise up and began to morph into a humanoid-like creature. Whatever that creature was, they could tell it was a male due to its impressive ripped and toned body. Its face was set in a fierce, determined scowl as it glared at Gadaro with his glowing green eyes. "What the hell are you?" the pirate questioned the creature in a stunned voice. The creature continued to hold its glare as it began to walk towards the two. The pirate snapped out of his stupor and held the girl tightly around her neck, making her cough and causing the creature to stop. "Yeah, that's right, stay right there," Gadaro ordered the creature. "Now listen up, I don't know what you are, but frankly I don't care, you just ruined my..." Judging by the twitch of the creature's eyebrow, it looked annoyed at the man's continued rambling. Looking behind the man, it could see an open barrel of water which made a smirk on its face. Wanting to shut him up, he snapped his fingers and the water from the barrel shot, getting the pirate's attention just before his head got covered in a ball of water. Adro looked shocked from the surprise attack and the fact that he now found himself breathing in water, which made him drop his sword and release the hostage, who quickly elbowed his stomach, making him fall to his knees. The pirate continued to hold his breath but was clawing at the ball of water to try and get it off him. The pirate looked towards the creature only for him to widen in fear when he saw it in front of him, looking down at him as though he was an insect. The water creature gave him a grin before giving a powerful punch to the face that made the ball of water disperse and caused the pirate to lose a few teeth as he got sent flying back and got knocked into the wooden wall to his cabin, his body going limp in the process. The creature smirked as it dusted its hands off. It then felt someone crash into it, along with arms wrapping around its neck, surprising it slightly. It looked at the girl that was currently hugging it as she cried her eyes out on its shoulder. Thank you for coming to save us," the girl sobbed as she hugged the creature tighter. The creature's surprised expression softened to a look of understanding as it hugged her back. "You're welcome." The creature spoke, its voice sounding like a boy her age. The girl's eyes widened in astonishment as she pulled back and stared at the creature. You can talk." "Thought I couldn't?" the creature asked back, looking amused. The girl blinked a couple of times before she and the creature let out a laugh together. Hearing something full made the two stop and look towards Gadaro's limp body as they saw keys on the wooden floor. The girl was about to walk over to the keys before the creature stopped her. She looked at him in confusion and saw him smiling. "I got a faster way of releasing them." The girl looked curious for a moment as the creature walked over to the wooden beams that blocked entry to the ship's deck. The girl's curiosity turned into comical shock when she saw the creature reach down and actually made a new hole on the deck by lifting the beams up and then tossing the thing into the ocean. The creature leapt down to the lower where the girl heard the surprised yells from the captured females. She then heard the sound of chains being cut. The girl then saw the creature jump out of the hole while carrying some of the children, before going back in for the teenagers and then the adults. The children all happily thanked the creature by hugging his legs, with some of them even jumping on him, feeling amazed that despite him being a water humanoid, they weren't getting wet. The teens and women were next, as they either gave him hugs or peppered him with kisses, which made the creature's whole body glow pink, while holding a shy or bashful expression on his face. The sight made the women giggle at the innocent creature. "Alright. Is everybody okay? Nothing broken or anything?" The creature asked the women, who responded with a no, or "We're fine." "Okay, is there anybody that knows how to sail this ship back to your home?" "I am." A woman in her 30s stepped forward and took the wheel. "According to the navigator, we're not that far from the Land of Fire's border. I'll be able to turn the ship around and we'll head there." "Cool." The creature said before he walked to the edge of the ship with the women watching him. "There's some more treasure stacked away on the ship, you can keep those if you want. Also, you can do whatever you want with Captain Monkey over there." He didn't see the savage smirks on the women's faces, as most of them went towards the captain to tie him up. The creature stood on the edge of the boat and was about to dive in. Wait a sec, the girl he saved called out, causing him to look back at her. She then found herself blushing as she played with her hands. "It's just what's your name?" The creature blinked at her, looking like he wasn't expecting her to ask him that. He looked around and saw everyone else leaning in as they wanted to know as well. He looked unsure if he should give them his name for a moment before he inwardly shrugged. After a couple of seconds, he just gave her a grin and pointed his thumb at himself. "Call me Chaos." The creature, now named Chaos, told them. Later. He then jumped a great distance and height, which made everyone look on in awe. They were then shocked when they saw him disappearing in a green flash of light. "Chaos." The girl mumbled, saying her savior's name as though she was testing it. Gotta be honest, she wasn't expecting the creature to have a name like that. But hearing the panic he had caused on the ship earlier made her understand why in a way. He causes chaos to those whose hearts are filled with evil, like that captain and his crew. The girl played with her dark orange hair as she thought about how awesome her savior was when he took out those pirates using those amazing techniques, and how he let her cry on him. Thinking about it made her blush in embarrassment, but she had a happy smile on her face. She really hoped that she would see him again. "Wait, how did Chaos know where we were?" she curiously asked herself. "Hey look, I see something in the sky," a little girl called out as she pointed at the sky. Everyone looked to where she was pointing at in the distance. Whatever it was the girl was seeing, the clouds were blocking it from view. The girl narrowed her eyes briefly as she saw what looked like water falling from the sky, which was impossible. Slowly but surely, the clouds began to disappear, and what the women saw will forever be in their memories. There in the sky looked like a massive landmass that somehow seems to be flying. The women gathered around to see the flying landmass, and each of them voiced their disbelief at what they were seeing. "What is that? It looks like an island. Are you all seeing this?" "Of course we are, dummy." As the women commented about the mysterious landmass in the distance, the girl with dark orange hair started to ask herself this one question, and that question involved their savior. "Is that Chaos's home? Angel Island? Altar of the Emeralds?" Leaning on a pillar with his hands behind his head as he watched the ship leave from the Master Emerald, Chaos couldn't stop the happy smile that was on his face. He blinked for a moment before he turned his head and had a knowing smile. "Pia. You guys obviously know who I am and probably got a lot of questions right now, but we'll save that for the next chapter." Chaos told the audience before he changed into his human form, revealing himself to be Naruto. He happily waved to the readers while winking at you. See you later. Chapter 2. Inside a pitch-black abyss, a figure is seen curled up into a ball. The figure moved slightly and opened its mouth with bubbles coming out. Suddenly, a big green ball of light appears next to the figure. The ball of light moved around the figure, showing long blue hair before stopping in front of its face, revealing the figure to be a beautiful 13-year-old boy who was also naked. 7 small lights appeared in front of the boy, but in the colors of green, red, blue, yellow, purple, turquoise and white. The boy furrowed his brows and slowly opened his eyes halfway, revealing them to be ocean blue. He stared at the 8 colored lights as the 7 small lights circled around him, while the big light hovered above his head. The mysterious boy rubbed his eyes, then uncurled himself and stretched his limbs out while giving a yawn, not seeing the bubbles coming out of his mouth. He smacked his cheeks and shook his head, waking himself up in the process. He looked at the lights curiously, but then jumped in surprise when they shot upwards, making the boy look up to a big yellow ball of light and a blue surface. The pitch-black abyss that he was in turned blue with the rays of the sun hitting his face. It didn't take long for the boy to realize that he was underwater, which to him meant he was back here again. "All that I see now is not the same. So much has happened, it's hard to bear. Yet, I'm still standing here." The boy smiled as he looked up to where the lights disappeared too and swam to the surface. Once he reached the surface, he shook his head, wiping the water out of his face and hair for a second. He touched the surface of the water with his bare hands and pulled himself up. I don't know much about this world or anything for that matter. But I do know one thing. The boy stood up on the water surface, looking at the wide open area of the crystal blue sea, with a soft smile on his beautiful face. He looked forward and his smile widened when he saw a massive green emerald on the ocean surface, ripples seen below it with the small lights from earlier circling around it. He walks up to the emerald, standing near it as he rubs it softly before he looks up at the sky. When things look their darkest, no matter how much mayhem and destruction someone's heart can cause because of anger, hate and resentment. Once you've opened your heart and let it all go, everything will be alright. You will find the courage and power to do amazing things despite what others might say, and most of all. The boy was so focused on the sky that he didn't pay attention to the fact that the 7 lights had transformed into emeralds. The 7 emeralds started to spin around the bigger emerald really fast, which caused the water beneath it to swirl in place. All of the emeralds glowed brightly as a unique symbol appeared on the water's surface, in the shape of a pointed cross and an X formation surrounded by a circle. The boy's smile softened as he closed his eyes in content. The light of hope will always shine in our hearts. Chaos 1. Naruto Kyosu, the demigod of Angel Island. Chapter cover. The setting is at the altar of the emeralds. Naruto is sitting on the Master Emerald, looking out in the distance with a Chow Amachao, dark, hero, neutral wisps and critters, a beautiful smile on his face and his hair blowing in the wind. Standing directly behind Naruto was his Chaos Zero form, with his back turned, while a pink orb is seen above the two. The original Chaos Zero is seen in the sky but transparent, and he looked happy. Angel Island, one of the largest, peaceful and most beautiful places you would ever find on this planet. To the outside world, this island is one of the most ancient and unexplored locations. Nobody couldn't get to it, or better yet, they didn't know about it. The island itself has an amazing ability which is what makes it so special. It has the power to float in the skies above, which earned its title, the Floating Island. There are few people who know of this island, but some believe it to be a legend, while others believe that it's real and are currently searching for it even as we speak. They want to know the secret it holds and the special power that keeps it floating in order to keep it for themselves. To this day, they are still searching for it. Nah, I'm just kidding. Nobody in this world doesn't know about Angel Island. They don't even know that it exists. However, there's only one person who knows about it. That same person is also living on the island. And that's me. Who am I, you may ask? The name's Naruto. Naruto Kyosu, and I'm the new guardian of Angel Island. He pretty awesome, huh? Well, I yawned, waking up from my slumber as I sat up. Oh man. I needed that short nap. I laid back down on the soft green grass, putting my arms behind my head as I stared up at the clear blue sky with a happy grin on my face. Oh man. This is life. How long has it been since I've lived here? 6 years. Yeah, that's about right. For 6 years, I've been living here on this floating island. In fact, believe it or not, I'm the only human that's currently living here. The other inhabitants are various creatures that came from the same world as Angel Island. You're probably wondering how old I am, right? Well, to answer your question, I turned 13 back in October, and right now it's the middle of June, which means I've been living here since I was 7. Crazy, right? You guys obviously want to know how a kid like me ended up on this flying island, right? Well, I really don't want to talk about it, since it brings up painful memories that I want to forget. But hey, this is my story, and every protagonist has to have a backstory on how they came to be, you know what I mean. 13 years ago, I was born in the Hidden Leaf village. However, on that day, a 9-tailed fox demon suddenly appeared and attacked the village. It caused so much mayhem and destruction, it was a miracle I was still alive. But I wasn't the only one who was born that night. Yup. You heard right. I'm a triplet, with me being the youngest of them. I know, he has no right to be called my father. Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, managed to seal the 9 tails inside his daughters. How? By splitting them in half. Minami Namikaze, the older sister, held the yin, and Naruki Namikaze, the middle sister, held the yang. And then there's me. The baby brother. The one who wasn't born with chakra. I don't even know how I survived. All living beings, like humans and animals, have chakra in their system, and without it, the person will die. But me? I don't have chakra. Meaning I can't use genjutsu, ninjutsu or any of that. Without chakra, I can't be a shinobi. Because of my condition, everyone in the village looked at me differently, while still giving praise to the 4th Hokage and his family. The first few years were okay. We were all a happy, loving family, with our parents loving us equally. That all ended after our 4th birthday when Minato and Kushina decided to train Naruki and Minami in becoming shinobi. And because I didn't have any chakra, they didn't even bother to involve, let alone ask me if I wanted to join in with the training. I only wanted training just so I could defend myself, but because of the whole chakra thing, I couldn't. So they kept their distance away from me, which made me do the same. However, over time, they started to forget about me. When it comes to family trips they didn't bother to come and get me, they would just leave. When it comes to going out to a restaurant or something, they didn't bother to come get me. And soon, on our birthdays of all days, everyone had all but forgotten me and were more focused on the girls. Nobody bought me a present. It was always the twin daughters and them alone. Still, back then, I was hopeful. I was still hopeful that I could get their acknowledgement. I wanted them to acknowledge my existence. I even tried to draw pictures for Minato and Kushina at some point, but they would just brush me off. I even brought or made them gifts for their birthdays or during special occasions, but they wouldn't take them from me, only getting what Naruki and Minako got for them. Every time that happened, I felt my heart getting hurt piece by piece, but that never stopped me as I was still determined to get them to notice and love me. So in order to get drastic, I pulled off little harmless pranks as a way for everyone in the village to notice me. It worked but not in the way I was expecting. When the girls started the academy, I started to get picked on by not only some of the kids but my sisters as well. They all laughed and mocked me because of not having chakra and being able to be a ninja, despite how famous my parents were. Hell, even the grown-ups had something against me. They would even go as far as to call me names. Normally I would just ignore them, but what Naruki said really touched a nerve. That's why mom and dad love us more than you. You're just a talentless loser who doesn't deserve to be a ninja. You shouldn't even be alive without any chakra, and that makes you a freak. I grit my teeth at the words she said to me. I was so angry by what she said and how everyone laughed at me that I ended up punching Naruki so hard I sent her to the ground with blood coming out of her mouth. Everyone, myself included, were shocked by the power of my punch, even Naruki and Minami. She should have avoided that. To them, that punch was supposed to be weak and slow, something that Naruki should have avoided or at least caught it. Yet somehow, I was able to knock her down and make blood come out of her mouth. In fact, the punch was so hard it made Naruki's cheek swell up and bruise. That instantly made her tear up and ran home crying. That's when everything went from bad to worse. I came back and got punished unfairly by both Lord Forth and his wife. I even tried to explain myself to them and tell them what had happened. And what did I get? A hard slap to the face from Kushina and being sent to my room. Since then, I never left the room. A day later when I went outside, I saw that everyone looked at me with contempt, disappointment and some were even glaring at me. They were even whispered harshly behind my back. They kept saying, "Did you hear what happened to Naruki? Apparently he did that to her. Or he was probably jealous. Or worse, I feel sorry that Lord Forth has that kind of child. He should be ashamed of himself." I hated that. I hated that so much that hurts. Hell, even the kids would look at me like that too, though the looks they gave me were of disgust and anger at what I did to Naruki. As for Minami, I definitely don't want to remember that ugly moment between me and her. I realized then and there that I was not wanted here. The looks I get from everybody, including my former family, they clearly did not want nor need me, and it made me cry so much at how painful it was to accept that reality. So, I gathered up all of my clothes and left one night while making sure no one was watching me. Somehow, I managed to leave the village without anyone noticing. But then again, nobody notices me. However, as soon as I left the village to start my new life somewhere, there was an accident that made me fall into the ocean. I was scared because I thought I was going to drown but I didn't. I was saved by a bright green light and it brought me here to the island, in front of the bridge that led to the small island where the altar of the emeralds was. Imagine my surprise when I crossed the bridge. I saw these colorful emeralds that were sitting on these pillars before finding my way to the Master Emerald. I was mesmerized by its beauty and couldn't help but think that I found some legendary lost treasure. I was a silly kid back then. But then again, I'm still that silly kid at heart. When I first poked the emerald, it was just simple curiosity to see if a trap would activate. Nothing happened of course. But then I saw something move inside the emerald. At first, I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me. But I was seriously wrong. After I touched the emerald again, it felt like it got stuck on super glue. The emerald wouldn't let me go no matter how hard I tried. After it had started glowing, I felt a hand of all things grab my own and was forcefully pulled inside the emerald. It was then that I met him. The person who forever changed my life. Flashback 6 years ago, Naruto remained motionless as he found himself floating somewhere. He opened his eyes slightly, but then closed them once more. They were snapped open in comical shock. Hey, where am I now? Looking around himself, the runaway child saw that he was in a green limbo of some kind with white sparkles, appearing one after the other. He took a step forward but stopped when he heard something make a small splashing sound. Naruto looked down and saw he was standing on clear blue water. He looked around the green space. Am I dreaming? This has to be a dream, right? He took a couple steps forward, attempting to try and find out a way out of wherever he was. Naruto eventually went stiff as he heard something moving behind him. He quickly looked behind and didn't see anything. He scratched his head in confusion before he felt something pointy tap his head, making him stumble forward. Hey, who did that? Naruto turned back around and gave a comical glare at whoever tapped him, only to see nothing there much to his annoyance. If he were to look behind him again, he would have seen that a head popped out of the water, silently observing him. It then summoned a single water tendril and used it to tap the boy once more and then fused into the water as the boy turned back, looking angry. "Quit messing with me, come out and face me like a man," Naruto called out as he stomped his foot on the water before he noticed something odd about it. He moved away and saw a bigger puddle. The former Namekiz kneels down at the big puddle, looking at it curiously. That was weird. A big puddle of water on a ground full of water. Still there was something off about it. He pokes it and finds himself surprised when the puddle jiggled from his touch. He pokes it multiple times before the puddle of water starts to twitch. "Wah?" Naruto suddenly yelled in shock as it started to rise. The scared young boy fell on his butt as he backed away from it, watching as it began to change its shape and started to transform into a humanoid-like creature. It had lime eyes, 3 fingers, and inside the head looked like the brain, Naruto asked himself in comical shock as his face turned green. He was so focused into the brain, he didn't see the water creature already in his face. He yelped as he fell backwards again, while the creature tilted its head to the side. "You high water monster thing," Naruto stuttered as he waved to the creature nervously. My name is Naruto. What's your name?" The water entity didn't say anything as it still looked at him. It moved its hand towards Naruto, wanting him to touch it, making him blink at that. Why did it want him to touch his hand? Shrugging his shoulders, Naruto reached his hand out and touched the creature's hand. "Okay, so what?" Suppose Naruto stopped talking as the creature's eyes started to glow, along with Naruto's. Images began to flash through Naruto's head as he was flooded with information. He begins to see the history of the water monster's origin. From its birth all the way to its current situation. After a few minutes, the creature and Naruto's eyes stopped glowing, with Naruto gasping for breath as he once again fell on his bottom. The child held his head while taking deep breaths. He looks back at the creature, who still looked at him. Your name is Chaos and you're from another world?" he asked in shock as Chaos nodded his head. "No way." Naruto couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that this Chaos thing came from another world, but then again, it did show him its memories, so it has to be true. In the world Chaos came from, he was born on an island known as Angel Island and that it was once one of the creatures called Chao. However, due to the energy of the Master Emerald, the giant emerald Naruto touched earlier, it mutated the Chao, making him become what he is right now. Chaos then became the protector of Chao, his family. Shortly afterwards he became friends with an echidna girl named Tycho, and together the two protected the Chao. However, Tycho's tribe, the Knuckles clan, tried to take the Master Emerald, along with the 7 smaller emeralds, for their own selfish desire to help them win a war against their enemies, with her father being in charge of it. Tycho resented this idea, worrying that it would upset Chaos and it would bring wrath to them, but Pachacamac did not want to hear it. His warriors stormed the shrine, where the emeralds reside. The Chao were injured in the process, as was Tycho herself. Chaos, in a fit of rage, absorbed the negative power of the 7 emeralds and transformed into perfect chaos, destroying most of the Knuckles clan. Before perfect chaos could go and destroy everything else in his blind rage, Tycho sealed him and herself inside the Master Emerald. The sealing of perfect chaos created an energy surge from the Master Emerald, resulting in an energy backlash that ripped a large fragment of the land and a portion of it from the ground, causing it to float in the sky, thus earning Angel Island its name. Naruto learned that those 7 emeralds he saw before were called Chaos Emeralds. They are just as powerful as the Master Emerald, but the Master Emerald itself controls the Chaos Emeralds. Chaos lay dormant in the Master Emerald for thousands of years until Dr. Eggman, an evil scientist from Chaos's world, released him by shattering the Master Emerald. Chaos swore to follow Dr. Eggman as he knew that he could get the Chaos Emeralds back for him. It was then Chaos met a blue hedgehog named Sonic and fought him. Eventually, Dr. Eggman's plans fell through at the hands of Sonic and his friends. Chaos soon abandoned Dr. Eggman, destroying his flying fortress, the egg carrier in the process, and collected the Chaos Emeralds for himself. Once they were in its possession, it absorbed the negative powers of the emeralds once again and transformed into perfect chaos to destroy a city called Station Square in a rage. Having only taken the negative energy, Chaos discarded the remnants of the Chaos Emeralds. This proved to be the means to perfect Chaos's downfall, as Sonic used a positive energy, the real energy, of the Chaos Emeralds to transform into Supersonic. Supersonic neutralized Chaos, bringing him back to his peaceful self. After that battle, Tycho, Chaos and the Chao went back to where they belong in the Master Emerald, where they stayed in peace. However, after a while Chaos came back once again, due to his world being threatened by an upcoming disaster because of Eggman. After the disaster has been dealt with, Chaos returns to the Master Emerald with Tycho where they lived in peace with Chao. But wait a sec, Chaos, why are you here in my world? How did you even get here? And where's Tycho? He looks around hoping to find the echidna girl. Chaos raised his hand up once more, making Naruto do the same thing, and both their eyes began to glow green. Naruto saw a vision where Chaos's world, and much to his horror, it was in complete ruins. There were mayhem, destruction, death. It almost looked like the whole planet was falling apart. It looked like someone or something was the cause of this destruction. In fact, Naruto saw a red moon, the moon, heading straight towards the planet and was almost close to hitting it. Angel Island had already fallen into the ocean, even though the Master Emerald is where it's at. However, the Chaos Emeralds were circling around it. Chaos and Tycho standing in front of the emeralds, with the remaining Chow, animals and wisps down the altar screaming in fright. Tycho was mouthing something. The two of them soon began to float above the Master Emerald. When they did, a pink aura appeared around Tycho, while Chaos started to glow just as the moon was getting close to hitting the planet. The Master Emerald and Chaos Emeralds began to erupt a massive white light that covered Angel Island and the surrounding area. After the vision ended, Naruto released Chaos's hand and had his hair shadow his eyes. He clenched his fist and bit his lower lip as he ran to Chaos and hugged his leg, making it look down. Sniff. See Chaos. Naruto sniffed as tears fell from his eyes. He looked up at the guardian of Chow. I'm so sorry about what happened to you. Your world, your friends, your family, they're there. If it had a face, Chaos would honestly look surprised. This was the first time anyone, let alone a human, would cry tears for it after everything it's been through. It made him feel warm on the inside. The same kind of warmth it felt when it met Tycho. This boy. Suddenly Chaos fell to its knees, making Naruto let go in surprise and got on its hands to keep it from falling. Chaos, what's wrong? Naruto asked, putting Chaos's arm over his shoulder, despite the difference in size between the two. Chaos didn't say anything, but Naruto can see that the mutated Chow is trying and failing to keep its form in place, but is failing. Chaos looked to Naruto as its eyes glowed green once more as though it was communicating with Naruto. What? What do you mean you're dying? Naruto asked in confusion. Chaos's eyes continued to glow. Naruto's eyes widened. Because of the power you and Tycho used to bring Angel Island in this world, you've been losing your energy. Chaos nodded. But you can't. Chaos. Naruto was in tears again. What about Angel Island? The emeralds. Your friends. What about Tycho? If you're here, then she's probably out there somewhere as well, looking for you and the island. You can't just die when everyone needs you. Chaos's eyes glowed once again. Me? You want me to protect them? Naruto asked, before shaking his head wildly, tears leaking from his closed eyes. But what can I do? I'm just a kid born without chakra. How can I protect this island when I can't even use jutsu? Huh? Naruto asked, opening his eyes and staring up at Chaos. See Chaos, Naruto said, a wide-eyed expression on his face as he stared at the guardian god. Chaos has just told Naruto the moment when he touched the Master Emerald, it was giving him its energy in order to pull him inside the Master Emerald so that they can meet each other. Now it will give Naruto its remaining energy and by doing so, giving him its powers and abilities. Chaos. Naruto's eyes watered once more before he rubbed his eyes with his forearms and looked at Chaos with a determined expression. I understand. Don't worry, Chaos, I'll protect everyone and the whole entire island. I swear, I won't let anything happen to them for as long as I live. Chaos stared at Naruto before he closed his eyes as though he was smiling. Much to Naruto's surprise, Chaos started to hug him while at the same time he began to glow blue. Naruto was about to say something, but stopped as both their eyes began to glow green. The water started to rise up and swirl around them, covering the two in a large water sphere as it began to glow brighter and brighter. Chaos then released himself from Naruto, staring into his glowing green eyes. His eyes turned happy. Thank you, Naruto, he said in a childlike voice. That was the last thing Naruto heard, and he felt tears falling from his eyes once more, knowing that was the last and only time he would see Chaos. The last time he'll see his very first friend. A bright blue light erupted from within the water sphere before it erupted into a water pillar with a silhouette seen inside it. The pillar and silhouette figure then vanished. Flashback end. After that, I felt different. It was like I was myself, but at the same time I wasn't. Like I was reborn as a whole new person. It was only that I started to remember what happened the day before. Chaos was gone. He used his remaining life to give me his powers, making me become the new guardian of Angel Island. I remember crying again. Because Chaos was the first friend I've ever made in a long time. But then, I was cheered up by some of the Chow. They made me realize that I couldn't be sad about Chaos because he wouldn't want me to be sad. I told the Chow that I would be the one to protect them. Just like I told Chaos, I will protect the whole island and its inhabitants with my life, and I won't let the emeralds fall into evil hands. Not because of the promise I made, it's also because Angel Island is my new home. Ever since I inherited Chaos's powers, I trained myself each and every day, developing my own techniques and such. I've even been asking the Master Emerald to show me some techniques that Sonic and the others do, mainly that Chaos control thing that can stop time and bend space. I was also inspired by some of Shadow's awesome moves using his chaos powers that I developed some of them in my own way. Along the way, I've fought some monsters that have been coming to this island unannounced and were trying to mark this place as their territory. But I took care of them, and since I'm being honest, I also ate some of those monsters. Not all of them mind you, just the edible ones, like a bird or something, and don't even think about judging me for that though lately I've been seeing less and less of them, but meh, it's cool. But I wasn't worried about the monsters. I was worried about the ninja. In the shinobi world, ninja from hidden villages would do anything to try and obtain some form of new power and keep it for themselves to further strengthen their village. The Master Emerald and Chaos Emeralds are prime examples of such, seeing how they're from another world. I knew that it was going to be a matter of time before someone down below will begin to spread rumors about a floating island and some shinobi would try and find it. But then again, how can they even get here without any form of transportation? Maybe I'm worrying too much. Still, you can't be too careful. Now that I'm thinking about it, the so-called shinobi world is just a continent that's been split into multiple countries. I know because I saw the map of the world. Meaning that there might be other continents out there that even shinobi doesn't know about. Probably because nobody didn't even bother to explore them. It makes me wonder what they're like. Wait, am I getting off track? Yes, I am. But anyway, back to Angel Island. Truthfully, I love this island. The peace, serenity, I mean come on, what's not to love about this place? I don't want anyone taking this island away from me, or better yet, I don't want anyone taking me away from the island. And if they did, I will make them regret it. If you want to know who I'm talking about, it's the ninja of the hidden leaf. There's no doubt in my mind that the fourth Hokage probably sent his dogs after me so he can bring me back. Well, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not the same weak little kid I was before. I'm a different Naruto on a whole other level, and I'll be damned if I ever go back to that village. Ah, that's right, I guess you guys are wondering where I am and what I am doing, right? Well, right now, I'm taking a little dip in the lake at the Mystic Ruins. The lake got deep to the point where it turned into a swimming pool. I came out of the water and started to whip my hair around. Haha, another relaxing day, I said blissfully as I floated along the water, enjoying the nice sun as I closed my eyes in peace. I felt something covering me from the sun. I opened my eyes and saw a single eye looking at me. Wah! I immediately ducked in the water and saw what was staring at me. It was a white wisp, and much to my annoyance it was laughing at me while pointing. I rose up and gave a mocking glare at the white wisp. Hey, that wasn't funny, I told him. I heard even more laughter and turned around to see more wisps laughing and pointing at me. I glared comically at them before grinning evilly. I pointed a finger at a cyan wisp and fired a stream of water at it, making the others stop laughing and look surprised. I laughed at the wet cyan wisp as it glared comically at me before laughing as well, with the others joining us. My laugh turned into giggles as I turned to the white wisp that spooked me. I'ma catch up with you guys later, I need to check on the chow at the Mystic Garden. The white wisp nodded and gave a salute before it flew it up to tell its friends what I said. They looked towards me and nodded their heads before flying off, with the white wisp waving at me as I waved back and it flew off. Just to let you guys know, those little creatures were called wisps. They came from Chaos's dimension as well. But get this, they came from another planet called Planet Wisp. In other words, those little dudes were aliens, real-life aliens. The Chow told me all about them and their story of how they came to Chaos's world. The wisps are peaceful, fun-loving, playful creatures. I'm not kidding, these little jellyfish-looking dudes just love to have fun. They're made up of a really powerful energy source called Hyper-Goon. They also come in various natural breeds that determines their appearance and powers. The breeds also have their own unique personality trait, but it's their powers that completely caught me off guard. It happened a while back when I found a chicken monster chasing them around and was trying to eat them. I came just in time and defended them from it. While we were fighting, a cyan wisp suddenly entered my body and I was powered up with some wild energy. I shot off like a laser beam and ended up killing the chicken monster too. It was so freaking awesome. It was then I found out why the wisps decided to stay in Chaos's world. During one of Dr. Eggman's plots, the wisps were kidnapped and enslaved by the doctor until Sonic the Hedgehog freed them. While most of the wisps went home after that, some of them decided to stay in Chaos's world after taking a liking to it. They even helped Sonic out on some of his adventures. I wonder if the wisp's planet made it to my dimension. The thought always crossed my mind. I mean, there was a good amount of wisps on my island, but all the others went into space, no doubt searching for their planet or maybe even looking for new ones to stay at. I shook my head and smiled to myself. I hope they're safe out there. I looked at the nice and clear waterfall. I leapt towards it, making a loud splash and stood in front of it, looking at myself in the reflection. Man, I sure did change, huh? It was no joke, I really did change a lot since living here. My once spiky blonde hair became nice, smooth and is now a unique ocean blue color. I let it grow out and it was now waist length. It kind of looked more like a thick mane this way. But what made my hair even more unique was that it was exactly like Chaos's head. What I mean is that my hair has the two fin-like protrusions and the two flaps which Chaos had on his head, but as human hair. My eyes were still blue, though they would glow a slight green whenever I started using Chaos energy. The whisker marks I once had on my cheeks are gone. Around my neck is a silver lace chain that holds a pendant. I stopped for a moment and stared at the pendant. The pendant had a cool-looking silver pointed cross that was attached to a silver ring with 4 separate open diamond shapes, basically forming an X formation, around the cross. The cross also had a small hole in its center. It's a funny story on how I got it, but I'll tell you guys another time. Looking back up at my face, I saw that it had matured from when I was a kid. I wasn't average, but I wasn't what girls would call handsome either. I was a boy, but I looked pretty enough to be confused as a girl. I guess I'm what you would call a pretty boy. I don't know, I never pay any attention to stuff like that. When I first came here, I was very skinny and short due to me not getting trained and because there were times when those people forgot I was even there. However, after my meeting with Chaos and training myself for all these years, I was now taller and slender. There was no fat on me whatsoever due to me having a more conditioned athletic type build, but still I was very well toned and muscular. I was also wearing a brown handmade loincloth. Hey, when you're living on a floating island with no clothes you have no choice but wear this. Besides, ain't nobody here to judge me, even if they did I wouldn't care either way. I gave a toothy smile at myself in the clear reflection before I started to pick my teeth. Did I forget to mention that I now have fangs? How cool is that? I stretched my limbs out and sighed in content as I heard some popping noises from my back. Well, time to check on the chow to see how they're doing. I said as I jumped out of the lake and headed towards my destination. As I continued on ahead, I saw the destroyed train station that was supposed to go to Station Square back in Chaos's world. A train cart itself is in front of the station, it was now old and ruined, and it had some green moss all over it. I took a peek inside the cart and saw a lot of people's suitcases, bags, you know, stuff like that. I checked their belongings and saw a lot of things that the people in Chaos's world had. Like these things called MP3 players that play music, DVDs, CDs, communication devices called cell phones, just about anything that I haven't seen before in this world. It was a huge surprise to discover those things. It was even bigger when I learned that those things actually still work as I took them to the workshop of that two-tailed fox kid Tails and had to charge their batteries. I even went into his basement and found a garage of all sorts of vehicles, from the race cars to the tornado plane and even those extreme gear. After examining them once they were fully charged, I was so awestruck by them that I decided to keep some for myself. Again, don't judge. Still though, who would have thought that people from Chaos's world were so advanced with technology and vehicles to develop all those things. I still couldn't get over that and wondered what my world would be like if we had stuff like that. Well, we did have computers, but that was it. But all those other stuff, not so much. Who knows? They probably exist here. I watched some movies and TV shows on a DVD player, ranging from comedy, drama, romance, even horror. I would sometimes stay away from the horror genre if it involves ghosts in them, like that one movie where a doll of all things gets possessed by a demon, and this was based on a true story. After watching that film, I'd made a vow to stay as far away from any creepy-looking dolls I'd see. There are some horror movies that I do like though, and it's insane. Crazy serial killers who can't seem to stay dead or is someone else behind the mask, a sick perverted old man who kills people in their dreams, thereby killing them in real life, dead people that come back to eat people, group of friends being stuck in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and one dumbest friend ignores some form of warning and summons something that kills them all, except for one who wins at the end. Yeah, the list is very, very long. I was honestly surprised at how stupid some people in the movies were. Like, come on, I'm a kid, well, a kid with the powers of an ancient water god, and I can easily take care of those guys no problem, especially that demon clown thing that eats kids my own age. Fuck that clown and all those other freaks. If they were here, you'd best believe I'll kill them all, and I would make sure they stay dead, unlike those morons in the movies. Okay, I really need to stop getting off topic. Anyway, I read certain books that tell me about Chaos's world, and I was shocked. So many religions, mythology, different cultures and people with their own system and language. It's incredible. I had no idea Chaos's world is such a huge place, and I know for certain that my world is similar. Well, to an extent that is. I even read some comic books as well, and I found them to be incredibly enjoyable. I really loved the ones with the superheroes in them, people who use their powers to save other people and protect them in their own way. Believe it or not, there were life lessons in them. Who would have thought that there would be life lessons in something as comic books? It was the same with the cartoon shows and movies that I would be watching. I'll be honest, I took those lessons to heart. I took out an iPod C from my pocket and put the earbuds in my ears while going through the list of songs. It was amazing to know that there are many different genres for music made not only by grown-ups, but by kids as well. Because of that, I gained my favorite genres of music, which were rock, rap, R&B, pop and J-pop. I'll even listen to some gospel music from time to time just for inspiration. Chaos's world was truly amazing. I know I keep saying that word, but it just is. Speaking of worlds, I said to myself as I stopped fiddling with the iPod C, I wonder if there was another Naruto in Chaos's world. That thought always occurred to me. I shrugged and continued. Probably not. If there was, then Chaos would have met him already. The multiverse. That term had always gained my interest. I read about it in a book I found on the train. From what it said, there are an infinite number of universes or dimensions out there, each with their own set of rules and stuff. The multiverse includes different versions of the same dimension or vastly different ones. And since the numbers are infinite, that alone tells me that somewhere in the multiverse are other versions of me. Other versions of Naruto. And in the center of it all is the Prime Universe, with all other universes surrounding it being derived from their Prime counterpart. There are also other multiverses that exist independently from the one containing the Prime Naruto's world, such as the dimension of Chaos's world and others like it. Normally, these multiverses are incapable of contacting each other. But thanks to the combined power of the Master Emerald and Chaos Emeralds, Chaos had made contact with my world. Each multiverse has a Prime Universe. They're connected with the other universes surrounding it. So if anything happens to someone in the Prime world, it will also happen at the same time with another version of the same person. Just thinking about the possibility of meeting my counterparts from other worlds makes me smile uncontrollably. Hey, can you blame me? It makes me all excited, I said happily as I entered the East Cave, on my way to the Chow Garden. Alternate universes, other me, I wonder what type of person I become in those worlds, I squealed in delight almost like a fan who just met their idols in real life. I can already imagine what those other Naruto might be. What if I was a shinobi somewhere? Or no, what if I was a samurai? Or maybe a superhero like in those comic books? An actor perhaps. I gasped in realization, coming to a halt. What if the other versions of Naruto crossovered into other dimensions that weren't their own? Thinking about it makes me wonder if there's a world where instead of Chaos coming to my world, I somehow ended up in his world. No, wait, it probably does exist, cause the multiverse is infinite. There might even be some people from Chaos's world who crossed over into one of the other Naruto's worlds or more. However, my mood went down. Still, I said with a frown. Other versions of me, do they have families that love them? Or are they alone? I never really thought about it before, but I truly believe that in this multiverse there might be some Naruto that have parents who are alive and that they have siblings like I had, or maybe in others, their parents might be dead. To be honest, I didn't know what to feel about that. Before I could ponder on that, I suddenly felt pain in my knee as I held it. Ow, son of a, I looked and saw I hit the trolley car which leads to the Chow Garden of the Mystic Ruins. Wow. I was so into my thoughts I wasn't paying attention. Ought to pay attention. I mumbled to myself as I entered the trolley car. The moment I did, the car began to move by itself. Don't ask how, it just does. I wonder what the other Narutos are doing now. I smiled softly. Who knows? Maybe they're having the time of their lives just like I'm doing now. Hey, good luck out there, other versions of me. Regular POV. Ultimate Ninja World. In the Ultimate Ninja World, Naruto and Blaze are enjoying each other's company as they explore the tower that they were in for the Chunin exam. Naruto suddenly stopped walking as his eyes widened slightly in surprise. He looks behind him. Huh? Blaze stopped too and turned to her best friend. What is it? Naruto looks around before turning to Blaze, a confused expression on his face as he scratches his cheek. I really don't know. I had a feeling that someone just wished me good luck. Blaze raised a brow at him. She turns around and walks away, shaking her head. You really are naive. Naruto flinched comically at her. No, I'm not, it's true, he ran after her. I felt it in my heart. Blaze. Mega Man Neo World. Naruto Arlight and his friends were in the house, relaxing on the couch. They came back from doing another D-rank mission, which was cleaning someone's house and walking their dogs while they were away doing shopping. Right now, Team Mega is tired and they just want to turn in for the day. Naruto suddenly stood up and looked out the window, getting everyone's attention. What's up? Ayla asked. Is everything okay, Naruto? Selena also asked, looking concerned. Naruto turns to everyone. He looks out the window again before looking back at them. I just had a strange feeling that someone wished me good luck. Huh? The girls and robot companions blinked. You sure it wasn't your imagination? Ayla asked, raising a brow. Naruto shook his head and put a hand to his chest. No, I felt it here. In my heart. Someone out there just wished me good luck. He looks out at the window again and smiles, not paying attention to the confused looks everyone gave him. Whoever you are, thanks. Chaos Maelstrom World. Naruto has just finished playing with the Chow at Mystic Ruins Garden and is now in the Mystic Ruins jungle, standing on top of the Mystic Temple. His eyes were closed as he listened to the music that was playing in his ears and enjoyed the gentle breeze of the wind hitting his face while blowing his hair back. The Mystic Ruins jungle was once the home of the Knuckles clan before perfect chaos wiped them out. Now it's just a swampy rainforest maze. To be honest, the only thing that's left of the Knuckles clan is the shrine itself that lies in the center of this maze. And the other thing that was in this maze was a small wooden structure. It was the home of that giant purple cat Big and his friend Froggy, the same frog that was possessed by Chaos's tail. Since Naruto has been living on this island for a long time, he knows his way around the place, from inside to the outside, even all the way to the sanctuary which is high above Angel Island. But there is one place that Naruto absolutely hates on this island. The pyramids of Sandopolis. It wasn't the pyramids that Naruto hated, it was what was inside them. He went inside and explored the pyramid one day, and he saw these glowing white orbs that were floating above his head. He ignored them at first, thinking they were harmless, but then he began to notice that the orbs were beginning to take shape as the lights began to dim. Once the lights were out, it was then those orbs took the form of ghosts and they were flying overhead of him. Naruto, of course, freaked out and tried to attack them when one of them charged at him. But no matter how much he tried, they just respawn a second later. It was then Naruto realized that those odd switches he keeps finding were light switches and they kept those ghosts at bay. He managed to find one and the ghosts vanished. Naruto finally managed to leave the pyramid and swore to never go there again. The other place he didn't get the chance to explore was the rest of the Lost World. The place always scared him as a kid and he didn't want to explore the place by himself. He didn't know what was down there, so he told himself that once he got bigger and stronger, he'd go down there and explore the ancient city of Tycho's former home. Tycho? Naruto muttered as he looked up at the sky. You were there with Chaos when he transported Angel Island and brought it here. So, what happened to you? All was silent as Naruto continued to enjoy the nice breeze in the air and continued to stare up at the clouds. He seriously hoped nothing would interrupt this beautiful moment. A deadpan expression appeared on Naruto's face. He saw a silhouette of something flying in the sky. Whatever it was, it looked like it had 3 heads. The beast gave another roar before it dived to where Naruto was at. The beast landed on the ground, making a cloud of dirt appear and cover it. The dirt soon vanished to reveal the beast's appearance. Its body was based on a very large black dog, but scars cover its being, some old while others recently. It also has large black bat-like wings. The 3 heads were demonic-looking wolves, with their eyes red and snarls on their faces as they glared at Naruto. The wolf head on the left also had blood dripping from its mouth and, judging by the human arm it just dropped, the demonic wolves had just finished killing their prey. Or multiple prey, as the other 2 heads had blood dripping as well. Naruto stared at the human limb with a blank stare on his face before he stared at the beast. He jumped off the mystic temple and landed softly on the ground. He walks up to the beast, unflinching as it begins to growl at him. He stopped till he was right in the beast's faces, the blank look still on his face. If you think that this Naruto points to the human limb is supposed to scare me, then you're wrong. Dead wrong. If anything, you just gave me a good enough reason to kill you. His blank look turns into an angry scowl as his eyes turn pupil-less green. The beast reared back in shock and slight fear as it stared at the human. Because it saw a monster of sorts standing behind him, glaring at it with a fierce snarl present. But since I'm in a good mood, I'll give you this one chance. Leave now, never come back and don't ever eat another human. Understand? The beast's expressions turned into anger. Not only for what the human called it, but also for the threat he gave it, and it didn't take too kindly of being talked to like that. No human dared talk to it like that. It roared in Naruto's face, who only remained still while his hair blew back. Fine. You've made your choice. Naruto said just as the roar stopped. By the way. The beast raised its paw as razor-sharp claws sprouted, but Naruto remained unfazed by it as he gave it a comical deadpan stare. Your breath stinks, you stupid mutt. Slam. The beast slammed its paw down upon Naruto's being, making a feral grin appear on its faces because of its accomplishment. However, the beast noted that there wasn't any blood. If anything, it didn't feel anything. The beast removed its paw and saw the human vanish. It growled angrily as its 3 heads looked around for him, only to feel something kick the left head off its body. Suddenly, it heard the sound of something slashing at its left head and felt an intense amount of pain as it roared echoed throughout the whole jungle, along with blood gushing out. As the beast cried out, its missing head rolled on the ground before a foot stopped it. It then kicked the decapitated head into the middle head, bunking it with the right head. Hey, stupid dog. A slightly deeper voice called out to it. The beast shook its remaining 2 heads and growled as it turned to roar at Naruto, but stopped and looked damned confused. There standing in front of it, with its arms crossed, is a blue creature that looks like it's made out of water. The beast has never seen a creature like this before and it sniffed before coming to a shocking conclusion. It was the same human brat from just a few moments ago. The right head began to whimper slightly and was about lower its head before the middle one growled at it angrily and made it seem like it was going to bite it. Naruto watched the interaction between the heads and shook his head in disappointment. It looks like the right head was the smart and wanted to leave, but the middle one, whom he concluded was the leader, wanted to stay and kill him. It should have listened to the right head. Well? Come on, you giant fleabag. Naruto spoke, getting the beast's attention. He held his hand out and did a bring it motion. Hope you're ready. Cause things are about to get chaotic. Roar! The beast made a mad dash at Naruto, who jumped incredibly high. It glared at the mysterious creature before launching a large crimson fireball at him. HMPH. Naruto twisted his body and began to spin really fast, becoming a water torpedo as he launched himself at the fireball. He instantly went through the fireball, making it evaporate in the air. The beast growled from that and was about to launch another one using both of its heads to make an even more powerful one. But before they could, Naruto delivered an axe kick to the center head, making it crash on the ground. He flips off the center head and knees down in front of it, looking at the middle head with slight amusement. That's all you got, Fido? Naruto flicked its nose, causing the beast to growl, and soon spread its wings, taking off to the sky. Naruto, having anticipated that, stretched his arm out and grabbed the beast's tail and surprisingly held it in place while it continued to try and fly away, all the while not leaving his kneeling position in a comical fashion. He shook his head, then slammed the beast back down, breaking its wings in the process to keep it from flying away as it roared in pain. The beast quickly rolled over till it was standing upright and launched a fire breath at Naruto from both heads. Naruto counterattacks by launching a torrent of water from his hands. The moment they clashed, steam was seen as they tried to push the other back. However, the water began to push the flames back and soon overpowered it as the water got sent into their mouths. The beast tried to cough out the water but couldn't. It then felt a searing pain coming from its body. The beast roared in pain as water spikes were shot out of his body, even cutting off one of its wings. It fell to the ground instantly as the right head began to whimper uncontrollably, while the middle tried to force its body up but couldn't. The beast saw a liquid puddle of water in front of it before it took shape and Naruto stood in front of it. The right head began to bark hysterically at Naruto, while the middle head was barking angrily at Naruto and tried to take a bite of him, which didn't even intimidate him in the slightest. Naruto stared down at the beast, looking between its head as they both barked and cried. He ignores them and walks away, going to the decapitated left head, picking it up and throwing it off the island as it disappeared in the distance. He stretched his hand to the beast and grabbed its tail once again, making it stop its noise. He jumped high in the air, making the beast howl in alarm. Once he was at a pretty good height, he began to spin around. "Get off my island!" He threw the beast a great distance off the island before it began to fall, its roars disappearing and echoing. A very loud splash was heard, telling Naruto that it fell into the ocean and that it's probably shark food right now. Naruto dusted his hands, smiling slightly. Well, that takes care of that. He flips in the air and dives back down to the mystic jungle. He flips once more and lands on the ground, making the grass dance in the air. He picks up a damaged wing and throws it aside, ignoring the loud thud it made. They always want to do it the hard way, don't they? The demigod was about to walk off, but stopped as he saw his reflection in the river, smiling a little bit. His current form looks exactly like Chaos, except for some major difference. Unlike Chaos's humanoid form, Naruto's form was more human in detail. He has human features on his face, such as normal yet sharp-looking eyes, a nose and a mouth, with his tongue being lime green. He also has 5 human fingers in the form of claws. He's slightly more muscular in this form, judging from the impressive ripped six-pack abs on his torso. He also had ears, except the ears in this form are long and pointy. He still has the 2 fin-like protrusions on the back of his head and sharp flaps, along with a bulge on his head, except it was shorter. The biggest difference of all is that his brain wasn't seen and he wasn't transparent but more opaque. Naruto gave a soft smile as he stared at the reflection before he returned to his human form. He nods to himself before he starts to float. Time to head back. He instantly vanished in a green light. Unknown to him, a pink ball of light is seen floating around the area before it leaves. Altar of the Emeralds. The green light flashed in front on top of the Master Emerald as Naruto floated down and sits crossed-legged on top of it. He looks down from the altar, seeing many Chow down there playing with each other, bringing a smile on his face. Some of them noticed him and started to fly up towards him. Naruto chuckled as he rubs their heads, making hearts appear above them before seeing more of them come up. "Hey guys, what's up?" Naruto greeted them. "Chow chow," the Chow greeted back. "Really? That's great, go ahead and have some fun," the blue-haired boy said as the Chow left and went back to doing what they were doing. He looks around and smirks as he finds what he was looking for, his bakken. It was something he made from a log. Of course, since he dropped the kunai he had on a while back, he used his claws to carve it himself. He even put his name on the handle of the bakken. Naruto held the Bakken, smirking happily. He runs to the stairs of the altar and leaps away from the center. He cheered as he flips in the air, bringing Chao's attention towards him. As he descends to the ground, he grins as he sees one of the many training dummies he created. He prepared his sword and went in for a downward slash at the dummy, making it shake slightly. "Oh yeah, you want chaos." Naruto backed away from the dummy, his grin still present. "You got chaos." He charged at the dummy, swinging his sword wildly, his grin turning feral. Since the demigod has no formal training, he relied on a style he developed by himself when he first used the Bakken, which involved him holding it with one hand, since it was light as a feather, to him at least. To be honest, the Bakken wasn't even meant for training. The Bakken was more or less a toy for him to play with the others whenever he was a pirate or a knight. But over time as he grew, he came to see his toy as a new training weapon. The Naruto, a robotic voice called out happily. Naruto jumped in the air slightly as he let go of his Bakken, which dropped on something hard and metal. Ouch. Naruto looks down in surprise and a little bit in annoyance. Amachao. What did I tell you about sneaking up on me like that when I'm in the zone? Amachao. The little robot Chao, which Naruto discovered a while ago after meeting with Chaos. He is small, has stubby limbs, and a large head with a red two-bladed propeller attached on top of his head and a gray wind-up key on his back. He has a blue body and head with orange, ripple-like eyes. Amachao floated in the air and shook his head. Not to do it. Exactly. Naruto said as he picked up the Bakken. Remember what happened last time when I hit you? That made Amachao shiver. During one of Naruto's training, Amachao had snuck up behind him in order to surprise him, which ended up becoming a bad idea as Naruto accidentally launched him into the air and into Azure Lake. Right. Sorry. Amachao apologized. It's cool, Omo. Naruto smiled at the robot Chao. To him, Amachao is the greatest friend he could ever ask for. It was him who showed Naruto around the island and who told him about the wisps. He's also really helpful when it came to telling more about the technology of his world and the zones on the island. Amachao would even tell stories about his time in his former homeworld, which wasn't very pleasant at first due to certain people picking him up, holding him or throwing him away. In turn, Naruto would also tell what he knew about his world. All in all, the two of them were the best of friends. Even though Amachao would tell him the most obvious of things, much to Naruto's slight annoyance. While Naruto and Amachao were busy talking to each other, they didn't notice they were being watched by a floating, glowing pink orb. The orb remained where it was for a moment, but it went hiding just as Naruto turned around, a confused look on his face. Huh? Is something wrong, Naruto? Amachao asked, tilting his head slightly. Nothing. Thought I saw something. Naruto replied. That was weird, he could have sworn he felt someone watching them. He shrugs and smiles happily. Hey everyone, Naruto called out to the Chao, getting their attention. Since today is another beautiful day, you guys ready to do our song? Chao Chao, the Chao cheered. Some of them took out various instruments with one already playing the guitar. Opening theme song. The one by Backstreet Boys. Naruto, I'll be the one. The moment the Chao began to play, Naruto started to get into the beat as he began to snap his fingers and move his body. A bright smile appears as he runs up to the altar and jumps on top of the pillar, looking out in the distance. I guess you were lost when I met you, but still there were tears in your eyes. So out of trust and I knew. No more than mysteries and lies. Naruto jumps off the altar and is now running across the bridge, with Amachao quickly following after him, not paying attention to the glowing pink orb that had come out of hiding and was now following him. There you were, wild and free, reaching out like you needed me, the helping hand to make it right. I am holding you all through the night. Naruto was now in Mushroom Hill as he jumped on a huge mushroom that launched him in the air. He does a few front flips and holds his arms out in a plane formation. He looked next to him and saw some wisps there waving at him, causing him to wave back at them before he began to descend to the ground. He landed on the ground and reached behind his hair, pulling Amachao off him. I'll be the one who will make all your sorrows undone. I'll be the light when you feel like there's nowhere to run. Naruto was now walking through the jungle, looking at all of the different little critters that were there laughing and playing. When they noticed him, he waved at them, making them cheer as well and jump him, causing the demigod to laugh. Hey come on guys, that tickles. Naruto laughs as a small lion licks his cheek happily. Wah hey, cut it out. Naruto looked to where Amachao was and saw he was being carried by the critters. Naruto laughed at Amachao as he stretched his arm and picked him. He turns to the critters. You guys doing okay? The small animals all cheered in delight. The pink orb was there watching Naruto as he continued to talk to the little animals. After a couple of seconds, he nods at them while saying goodbye and runs off somewhere. The orb immediately follows after him. Naruto chuckled as he rubbed his thumb across his nose. He put Amachao on his head before he jumped on a tree branch and began to parkour his way around the jungle. There you were, wild and free, reaching out like you needed me, helping hand to make it right. I am holding you all through the night. Naruto and Amachao now found themselves jumping out of the jungle and were sliding down the slope of Marble Garden. I'll be the one who will make all your sorrows undone. I'll be the light when you feel like there's nowhere to run. I'll be the one who will make all your sorrows undone. I'll be the light when you feel like there's nowhere to run. I'll be the one. Naruto and Amachao saw even more wisps going down the slope with them, each one greeting him or spinning around him while dancing to the song Naruto is singing. Seeing that he was almost out of slopes, Naruto leapt high in the air, doing a bunch of air tricks. He quickly saw he was about to hit Azure Lake, making him do a final trick before landing gracefully on the surface. I'll be the one, I'll be the light, where you can run to make it alright. I'll be the light, I'll be the one, I'll be the light, where you can run to make it alright. As Naruto sang, he danced on the lake, following the beat of the music. While doing so, a trail of water followed the movement of his arms, as though it was dancing with him. I'll be the one to hold you and make sure that you'll be alright. I'll be the one. As Naruto finished singing the last verse, he ended it in a pose, which made a splash of water appear behind him, causing the area around him to sparkle and a rainbow to appear. Hearing loud cheers caused Naruto to turn his head, along with Amachao who was still on his head. They saw every creature on the island there cheering for him on his song, including the Chao who were playing the instruments. Naruto smiled softly at all of his friends. No. That's not right. After living here for so long, being around them every day through the good and bad times. They were more than his friends, they were his family. A family that he was grateful to have. A family that he will protect with his life. As Naruto looked around at his family, waving at them while bowing. He looked away for a moment and saw a girl looking at him with a soft smile and a blush on her face. He nods at her and turns away before his eyes widened in disbelief. Huh? Naruto did a comical double take and turned to where he saw the girl, only to see nothing. He blinks a couple of times and rubs his eyes to make sure he wasn't seeing things. Wow, with the Chao. Meanwhile, on a faraway large island out in the ocean, an attractive young girl is sitting in a meditating pose on the soft green grass, eyes closed and all. The girl has peach-colored skin though it was slightly tan. Despite being in her early teens, she has a slender, curvaceous yet muscular figure. She has long wavy peach-orange hair with golden hair bracelets in it. The tips of her hair also have a lighter shade of orange. She wore a skin-tight dark blue top and matching biker shorts. Over them is a short white tribal dress with green and red tribal pattern lining. She wore dark blue fingerless gloves that had 3 light blue diamond-shaped dots on the knuckles area. On her left wrist, she wore a gray metal bracelet that has a light blue crystallized tear symbol on it, a blue dot in the center of it, surrounded by a gold ring. There were 2 feathers attached to it, the inner section colored white and the outer blue. On her right wrist, she wore a cobalt blue bracelet. She wore a small golden necklace with a blue jewel in it. She had shin guards on her legs and wore brown open sandals. As the girl's eyes remained closed, the pink orb appeared and entered her body, making it briefly flash a pink light as the girl's eyes snapped open. She took deep breaths before eventually calming down. I can't believe it. The girl muttered. I found them. A bright happy smile appeared on her face as she quickly stood up and ran towards her village, which wasn't very far from where she was at. I finally found them. As she entered, she immediately gained a lot of attention from the villagers as they greeted her while she did the same thing. She stopped in the middle of the village and looked around, not seeing the person she was looking for. Where is she? The girl looked towards the beach and just as she thought, she found her dancing on top of rock. She quickly ran to her. Grandmother Sarabi. Her grandmother is definitely what you would call old, but the way she carries herself shows that she's still got a lot of spunk in her. She has gray wavy hair and minor wrinkles on her face. She wore a red midriff top and a green dress. Her cane is shown lying on the sand. Yes, Kia? Sarabi asked, not stopping her dance, but she did have one eye open to look at her granddaughter, a smile on her face. I did it, Grandma, Kia said happily. I found Angel Island. Oh? The older woman didn't stop her dance, but she did have a smile on her face at seeing her granddaughter's reaction. Yes, Kia continued in excitement. They were all there, even him. Sarabi's smile began to widen further as she turned her attention to Kia. And what shall you do, my dear? Kia placed her hands on her chest and looked in the direction of where the island is at. I want to go there and meet him. Chapter 3. Hey everyone, I'm Kia. I'm 13 years old and I live on Twilight Island, a peaceful beautiful island paradise that no one in the outside world knows about. I am also the reincarnation of Tycho the Echidna. You must be wondering who and what I'm talking about, right? Duh, of course you do. It all started the day I was born, breathing in my first air and getting ready to start my life. However, my time in this world came too short as I died. My family and the villagers were shocked and confused as they wondered what had happened. Even though I was born a healthy baby, the greatest doctors in the village had no idea what was wrong with me as they had tried everything they could to bring me back. There was no disease on me or anything. I just died. Just before they could officially declare me dead or bury my body, my grandmother told me that a spirit, in the form of a pink ball of light, had suddenly appeared above my lifeless body. Grandmother said the spirit had entered my body, and within seconds, I was brought back to life. Grandmother quickly ran and alerted everyone of what happened. Mother once told me that my father wouldn't stop showering me with kisses, which to me was kinda embarrassing, even though I was a baby. That was when my grandmother gave me the name Kia, which means new beginnings, though father wanted to call me Kiara, which means bright. Eventually, after being voted out by everyone, my father settled on Kia. As years passed, I continued to live my life to the fullest. Of course, everyone here called me a miracle child because I was given life again, thanks to the spirit who saved me. All in all, I've had a normal life. But when I turned 6, that was when everything changed. I started to have dreams. Strange dreams of a clan full of walking talking echidnas. However, it was the peace orange-colored echidna girl I've been dreaming about the most. And that girl's name was Tycho. I told my family about the dreams and I remembered their reactions. Mother looked stunned and concerned, father was worried, and my grandmother looked surprised at first, but then was happy. When we questioned her, she told us, well me specifically, more details of what happened that night the spirit came. Apparently, before the orb had entered my body, it had taken the form of an echidna girl. I knew it was Tycho because of the way Grandma described her. I still remember what she said to me after she told us the spirit orb. Flashback, 7 years ago. But Grandma, what does it mean? I asked Grandma after she told us the story. We were outside sitting by the fire as we listened to my grandma giving us more details of what happened the night I came back to life. The echidna girl you saw, I know that it was Tycho. But why do I keep dreaming about her? Yes, mother. Papa said, rubbing my back softly. Is everything okay with Kia? We all looked at Grandma and saw she still had that happy smile on her face. Kia will be just fine. Grandma said, bringing much relief to my parents as they sighed. She turns to me, a proud look on her face. Now child, the dreams that you've been having aren't really dreams. Those are memories, Tycho's memories to be exact. Tycho's memories? I asked as she nodded. But why is Kia having these memories? Mama asked this time, hugging me close to her. What does it mean? It means that Kia is getting ready to meet her destiny. Grandma answered. I blinked at that. My destiny? My parents and I looked at each other in confusion. What was she talking about? What destiny? Yes, Kia. Tell me, what do you know about reincarnation? Papa was about to say before I interrupted him. Oh I know, I raised my hand in excitement. Reincarnation is the rebirth of a soul in a new body. That's right, Grandma clapped her hands. Now think about it, Kia died as a newborn, but then Tycho, the spirit orb I saw that night, came here to Kia and entered her body, bringing her back to life. Now, today, Kia starts to dream about Tycho's memories. What does all of that tell you? I blinked and turned to my parents only to tilt my head to the side as I saw the looks on their faces. Mama seemed shocked and surprised, while Papa looked shocked, confused and in disbelief. But why? Why did they have these reactions? Mother, what are you? Papa tried to ask but he couldn't. Sarabi, are you saying that Kia is? Mama also tried to ask, looking at me with an awestruck expression. Yes, I am. Grandma picked up some dust from her skirt pocket. All of the signs prove it. She blows the dust into the fire, making it glow a beautiful pink. I gasped in awe as pink smoke from the fire started to circle around me. I looked at Grandma and saw her smiling before turning her attention back to the fire. I looked towards it as well and didn't pay attention to the smoke that was starting to form behind me. I looked back at Grandma and saw her smiling at me. But she also seems to be staring at something behind me. I didn't even realize it then, but that smoke from before took the shape of Tycho, which is what Grandma was staring at. Kia, you are Tycho's reincarnate. Flashback ends. I know. Mind blown. My mother was more accepting of the fact and even supported to help me through it if anything about me changes. But my father? Well, he didn't believe it. Or matter of fact, he just didn't want to believe it. Us women didn't pay him no mind. After all, some men didn't want to believe in the unknown. After that confession, Grandma gave me a journal to write about the dreams and make sure not to leave anything out. But it wasn't just the dreams I've been having. I somehow also gained her powers as well. I learned of this after I accidentally summoned a bolt of thunder in my sleep after seeing Tycho doing it in my dreams. Father was there too when he saw me do it, making him believe what grandmother said. Grandma herself said that since I'm Tycho's reincarnate, that means there was a chance I started to inherit some of her powers and abilities. As months continue to pass, I've been having more and more dreams of Tycho's life while at the same time I've been learning more about her history in her previous world, from her past all the way to how she came to our world. As I wrote about them in my journal, I just couldn't help but feel sorry for Tycho. All she ever wanted was for everyone to live in peace, just as her grandmother wanted until her death. But then her father, her power-hungry father, wanted to rule everything by trying to conquer the neighboring countries in a series of wars. But one day, she visited the altar of the emeralds, where she met Chao along with Chaos, and they became very dear friends of hers. Over time she learned that her father planned to strike the altar. He and the clan murdered the Chow and shoved Tycho out of the way, knocking her out in the process. Once they reached the Master Emerald, Chaos appeared and used the negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds, killing all, if not most members of the Knuckles clan, including Tycho's father, going on an endless rampage to destroy the world. To prevent that from happening, Tycho had sealed Chaos and herself inside the Master Emerald. 4,000 years later, in Tycho's world, the Master Emerald was shattered by a scientist named Dr. Eggman, releasing Chaos, so he can use him to take over the world, and unknowingly Tycho. Thankfully, Tycho aided a blue hedgehog, whose name is Sonic the Hedgehog, and his allies. After Chaos was calm thanks to Super Sonic, Tycho left with him to live in peace. After that I saw it. The end of Tycho's world. It was on my 7th birthday when I saw that memory. Yeah, I know. I spent a whole year dreaming about Tycho's entire life, and on my 7th birthday, I got the memory of how her world ended. After that memory, I thought that was going to be it, but I was wrong. Flashback. After watching the destruction of Tycho's world, 7-year-old Kia now found herself in an empty pink space with white sparkles. She looks around frantically, wanting to know where she was at this time. What is this? Where am I now? It's okay. A soft and gentle voice said, making Kia's eyes widen. You are in a place where we can finally meet. It can't be. Kia whispered. Hearing that familiar voice helped her calm down as the memory of seeing a world ending before her eyes scared her. That voice she slowly turned around and saw a pink orb floating in front of her. Tycho. In a quick flash of light, Tycho the echidna appeared in front of Kia, smiling softly at her while her eyes widened in surprise. Hello Kia. Kia said happily. I can't believe that you're here. She was about to hug her, but stopped when she noticed Tycho's body wasn't physical to touch. Your body it's. I know. Tycho smiled sadly as she looked down at her hands. It means that my time here is almost up. Kia's eyes widened in sadness and denial as she shook her head. But that's not. I still have so many questions. Tycho looked back up at Kia. What happened to Chaos? What happened to Angel Island with the creatures? What will happen to you? Tycho blinked at her rapid questions before she smiled. That's what I came here to tell you about. She turns and looks up. You see, back in my world, a terrible war arose when a new power was discovered by Dr. Eggman. This power was known as the Phantom Ruby. Phantom Ruby? Kia asked, tilting her head. Yes. Tycho turns to Kia, a serious frown on her face. The Phantom Ruby's exact powers are based on virtual reality control. It takes control of people's visual and depth perception to feed false information to the brain, creating a new reality for them. This includes empowering and altering beings or creating illusory places and entities that are impossible to tell if they are real or not. Kia gasped from this as it made her take a step back. A ruby that has a power based on virtual reality and was able to do something like that. She honestly was in awe at such power actually existing in Tycho's world, but it also frightened her to know that it controls her mind, thinking that whatever is there is actually there, but not at the same time. That could only mean that if she hurt herself or died in that reality, she will die for real. Dr. Eggman used the Phantom Ruby's power and conquered 99% of my world. Tycho continued. The other 1% were still fighting against Dr. Eggman's forces in a resistance group led by Knuckles the Echidna, the last guardian of the Master Emerald. Kia replied as Tycho nodded. That's right. Thanks to the effort of Sonic and the resistance, they managed to defeat Eggman, and the Phantom Ruby vanished. That's how things were supposed to go. Tycho looks down once more. However, something happened. Due to the backlash of using the Phantom Ruby within 6 months, its power spiraled out of control, turning the moon red and creating portals that brought forth many monsters from places unknown. These monsters were called Phantoms. The resistance fought bravely against them, but one by one they all fell, including the core resistance members. And after that Kia looked down sadly. The Chow, Wisps and animals the surviving species gathered up on Angel Island, and together with Chaos you two used the Master Emerald and Chaos Emeralds to leave your world as it got destroyed. Yes. Tycho nodded sadly. But what about Chaos? There's a chance that it's okay. Tycho told Kia, making her blink. If anything, he's probably meeting Chaos the same way we are right now. He? Kia asked in confusion. Who are you talking about? Who met Chaos? There is a boy like you out there. Tycho replied. A boy that shares a special connection with Chaos, just like you and I do. In fact, it was thanks to him that we came to this world before the island could get destroyed. He's probably there right now looking after the emeralds and our little friends. He is? Kia asked in excitement. She couldn't believe it. There's a boy that's like her out there who met Chaos and he's already on the island. Do you know where it is? Angel Island I mean. I'm sorry. Tycho sadly shook her head much to Kia's disappointment. I'm afraid I don't know where Angel Island is. Oh right. But don't worry. Tycho smiled in reassurance. Someday, whenever you're in trouble, he will come to you, and when he does, promise me that you'll always be there for him. He needs you in this world just like how Chaos needed me in my previous world. Kia stared at Tycho before looking down in thought. She nodded her head, a determined smile on her face, despite the tears that were starting to gather. Of course I will, now that I know he's out there, I want to meet him. A soft smile appeared on Tycho's face. She walked up to Kia and grabbed a hold of her hand. Thank you. Tycho? Kia asked, but then gasped as a pink aura started to appear around Tycho. No, please don't go yet, she choked out a sob as tears started to fall. She quickly pulled Tycho into a hug. I don't want you to leave. It's okay, Kia. Kia heard Tycho speak in her head. Please don't be sad. I'm happy. I'm happy because I got the chance to finally meet you before I go. I'm happy because Chaos and we knew we could leave the future of the island in your hands. Together, you and him will do amazing things for your world. Don't ever forget I will always be with you, no matter what. The sobs increased as Tycho slowly began to turn into multiple small pink lights, starting from her feet, making her hug the Echidna princess closer. Can you tell me his name? Of course. His name is… The pink lights that were Tycho entered Kia's body as said girl closed her eyes. She opens them back up, only this time they were glowing pink. Naruto. Flashback ends. And that was the last time I saw her. 6 long years since I saw Tycho, and I haven't dreamt about her memories. But that doesn't mean I dream of going to Angel Island and meeting Naruto one day. After meeting Tycho, I started to inherit more and more of her spiritual powers as the years passed by, including her ability to turn into her spirit form. Though with me, instead of my body actually turning into the orb itself leaves behind my body. Since grandmother was good with all things spiritual, she trained me with my newfound powers, while at the same time, father has been training me in various forms of combat. At the same time, I still couldn't stop thinking about Naruto. I mean, I did see him the other day and it was amazing when he fought that monster, even more so when turned into a form very similar to Chaos. I seriously can't wait to meet him. I have so many things I want to tell him, and more, but like Tycho said, in time, he'll come to me. But what exactly does that mean? Thinking about it now, I don't know why, but I get a strange feeling that Naruto would be coming here sooner than I think. And that something bad might happen to my peaceful island home. I just hope I'm wrong. Regular POV. Twilight Island. Kia's garden. Kia was at her secret garden, eyes closed and a calm expression on her face. She could hear everything. The waterfalls, the wind blowing and rustling the leaves, the birds chirping. She could hear it all. However, a lone water drop separated itself from the waterfall. In a slow motion-like manner, the water drop fell to the lake, all the while Kia remained where she was on her spot. The water drop hit the lake, creating a soft, almost quiet, splash. That little splash was enough for Kia to snap her eyes open into a sharp narrow gaze, seeing that she was surrounded by a bunch of bandits and pirates. They gave out battle cries as they charged at her. Kia smirked before she flipped a bandit that was ahead of everyone, over her shoulder and into those behind her. She dodged a slashing sword of a pirate before kneeing him in the stomach, then palming him in the chin. She blocked an incoming punch from a bandit before ducking to avoid a roundhouse kick by one of the pirates behind her, kicking the bandit in the process. Tycho's incarnate smirked before she kicked the pirate in the groin, making him squeal like a girl, while making the others flinch and hold their private areas. Kia then grabbed the pirate's sword and kicked him across the face, making him release his hold on his weapon. She stared at the sword before doing some moves with it. She stared at the remaining bandits and pirates with a smirk, making them break out in cold sweat. She brought her hand up as her bracelet began to glow. Soon blue markings started to appear on her body. Come on. Yeah, the pirates and bandits charged at Kia again, but they soon stopped seeing that she vanished. They looked behind them and saw Kia was there in a stance, the glow on her bracelet vanishing. Game over. Kia said. The pirates and bandits were cut to pieces as they dropped to the floor. Their appearance starts to flicker before the pirates and bandits reveal themselves to be robots. Kia took a deep breath and released it, smiling happily now. That was fun augmented reality training. Offline. The robots vanished in purple lights, causing her to look at the orbs that were the cause of their appearance. Now that that's taken care of, time to head out. Kia said as she left her secret place and was now running through the jungle, on her way to the village. She jumped from tree to tree before swinging on a large tree branch, flipping in the air and landing safely on her feet. Seeing the village was nearby, just across the small bridge above the river, she decided to walk. Twilight Island is truly a paradise. The island itself is large and it's surrounded by jungles, palm trees and beaches among others. The only village of the island had several houses, stone-made huts and even some buildings. Twilight Island is also the only island in the world to have advanced technology. As Kia entered the village and looked around, she saw many of the villagers were out and about doing various things with smiles on their faces. Some of the villagers were talking on their cell phones, on their laptops or just sitting down watching TV. There were also others leaving stores with bags in their hands or eating at a restaurant or even walking their pets. Hearing laughter, Kia stops and smiles happily as she sees children playing at the park. The children saw her and they waved at her. She giggled and waved back at them before continuing on her way. She was walking towards a large hut and she could smell the food that's being cooked, making her sigh heavenly. She recognized that delicious aroma anywhere. It's one of her favorite dishes. "Mama, I'm home," Kia called out as she entered the hut, going through the living. "Ah, hello Kia." Kia's mother, Nala, smiled at seeing her daughter. Nala looked like an older version of Kia. Her auburn-orange hair was cut short, going past her shoulders, but was held by a golden bracelet. She wore a red tank top and an orange tribal dress. Like Kia, she has cobalt eyes as well. "So, how was your training?" Nala asked curiously. "It was good," Kia said, looking at her hands. "It's like every time I train, I feel like I keep discovering more spiritual abilities. Abilities that I think Tycho probably doesn't have." "Good." Nala nodded, going back to cooking. "It just shows that you may be surpassing Tycho." "You really think so?" Kia asked. "Of course." Nala smiled. "You may have inherited Tycho's spiritual powers, but over the years as I watched you grow, you keep getting stronger. Even going as far as to go past your limit." "Yes." Kia looked down, a smile on her face. "I want to be ready for when I meet Naruto. After all, I promised Tycho that I would be there for him." Nala looked surprised at her daughter before she smiled. It was no secret that everyone knew about her daughter's story of how she met Tycho, her past incarnate, in her dreams after seeing the last of her memory. After meeting her, Kia would always go out somewhere to train in her powers in order to find the location of Angel Island. Not only that, she even asked her father to help her train in hand-to-hand combat, which brought a surprise from both parents' faces while her mother-in-law Sarabi was smiling proudly at her. As she watched her beloved daughter grow into a beautiful young woman, she knew it was going to be a matter of time before she leaves Twilight Island and begins her journey to find Angel Island and that boy Naruto. She still remembers how excited she was yesterday after she told her and her grandmother that she found them. It honestly looked like she was going to burst in joy and that she was going to leave at any moment. And it hurts. It hurts that her baby girl will be leaving soon to find Angel Island. But she's growing up and her Kia isn't going to be a baby forever, no matter how much she wished it. "Hey, what's that?" Kia asked, hearing cheering coming from outside and interrupting Nala's thoughts. "Sounds like your father is home." Nala smiled. Kia smiled happily. "Papa," she stood up and instantly ran out the house. "Oh Kia, dinner will be ready for an hour," Nala called out. "Okay," Kia yelled. The chief of Twilight Island, Quan, is getting off the boats and into the sandy beach, with many men getting out as well, then being reunited with their families. Quan's a large muscular man with tattoos on his body. He wore a necklace made of seashells and a red loincloth. He has wavy brown hair tied into a mini ponytail and a beard. "Father, huh?" Pa Quan gasped in surprise before he fell on his back. He suddenly began to laugh as he looked down and saw his daughter hugging him. "Hello Kia. Welcome back," Father Kia said happily, looking up at him before she got off him. "How was your trip?" "Oh ho ho, it was fine. A little crazy, but still fine." Quan replied happily. "That's great," Kia nodded. "Mom said that dinner will be ready within an hour, so you're right on time." Quan sighed happily. "I swear, I feel like your mother might have powers like you sometimes." He looks at his daughter. "So tell me, has anything happened while I was away?" Kia looked around playfully. "Well. Hey Kia." Kia and Quan turned their heads, seeing one of Kia's best friends, waving to them. She has black hair tied up into a side ponytail. She also wore a similar tribal outfit. "Kia's Zara." Kia looked to her father. "Sorry, I'll tell you later. But you'll be excited," she ran to her best friend. "Okay, have fun." Quan waved to his only child. He began to wonder what it was his daughter wanted to tell and why he would be excited. He shrugged his shoulders. She did say she'll tell him later. "So, had fun with your training?" Zara asked. "Yup. Just got finished." Kia told her. "Great, maybe now we can hang out," Zara said happily before she pouted. "The others are out doing their own thing and they couldn't come along." "Talk about party poopers, huh?" Kia giggles at that. "I guess. So what do you want to do?" Zara looked thoughtful. Well, you want to go to the island next door. We still gotta explore that place we found the other day." "That place?" Kia blinked before she gasped in realization. "Oh yeah, you told me you guys found a place that has something to do with the ancients. Everyone here on the island knows about the legend of the ancients. Legends say that the ancients had come from an alternate reality after it was said that one of their own betrayed them for their own selfish needs. Once the ancients were done sealing the traitor, some of them had crossover into this world and settled here on this unknown island. The ancients were a good-natured and noble race who strived for peace and the greater good. They were devoted to peacefully controlling the world's resources and would willingly sacrifice their most precious and vital relics to protect the earth from villains seeking to abuse them. They were also highly developed people in terms of technological prowess, as they were the ones who created the machine that transported them here. Despite being such an advanced civilization, ancients deeply respected the natural world, having lived in perfect harmony with nature despite their advanced technology. The first chief, who, along with many others, were survivors from an ancient war that destroyed their former home and traveled to locate a new one. They soon discovered Twilight Island, along with the ancients. After listening to their story, while placing them under an undetected lie detector, the ancients allowed them to stay on Twilight Island. Together they shared each other's knowledge about their worlds and created the village. But as the centuries passed and Twilight Island continued to evolve, the ancients soon became extinct, but their skills, history and knowledge were passed down, thanks to the villagers and the chief keeping their legend alive. And who was the first chief, you may ask? His name was Mufasa, and he is also Kia's ancestor. That meant that since her father is currently the chief, that means she will be chief one day, meaning she's a princess. You forgot, didn't you? Zara deadpanned, making Kia smile sheepishly as she bonked her head and stuck her tongue out. Sorry. I was just so excited to find Angel Island and I. Wait, you found it? Zara asked in surprise, getting into Kia's face and making her step back. Like, you actually found it? Why yeah. Zara's eyes gleamed. Well. Give me the details, what did you see? She always loved to hear stories about Angel Island after hearing Kia having those dreams or memories of her previous life. Well, Kia put her arms behind her head, looking up as she remembered what she saw yesterday. Angel Island, it was as beautiful as I saw in Tycho's memories. I saw the animals and wisps playing, the chow in their gardens having fun, the altar of the emeralds. And I saw him. Zara gasped in awe. You mean chaos? You saw chaos? Sort of. Kia admitted, but then flinched in shock as Zara screamed in excitement. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it, you actually saw chaos. Actually, Zara, Kia said, getting her best friend's attention. It's true that I saw chaos, but it wasn't actually chaos. Huh? What does that mean? Zara asked, raising a brow in confusion. What was she talking about? Do you remember years ago, when I told you I met Tycho? Zara nodded. Before she left, she told me about a boy. A boy who has a special connection to chaos. I saw that same boy on Angel Island fighting against a monster. Zara gasped from that. He transformed into a form that resembles chaos, but slightly different, and he won. Wait, Zara stopped her, making Kia look at her. Are you saying that chaos, the same water spirit, the guardian god of destruction, from your dreams is in fact a boy in our age group? Yes. Kia blinked. Zara gained a glint in her eyes as she stared at her best friend, a sly look on her face. Is he cute? Kia blushed from that, and she tried to hide it by fake coughing in her fist. Cute? Oh, I guess so. No, I mean, he is very handsome. No wait, I mean he was okay, even though he had the face of a prince. By now Kia was starting to become a stuttering mess, as her face kept getting brighter and brighter as she kept thinking about Naruto. His beautiful long blue hair, his feminine-like handsome face, his incredibly nice toned body and his fun-loving caring personality towards the creatures on the island. Adding to the fact that he can also sing is a nice little bonus. Zara slyly smirked at her best friend's reaction, which only seemed to get darker as steam was rising out of her head. Well, judging from your reaction, I can honestly say the Chaos Boy is pretty hot, Zara said happily as she imagines what the mysterious boy might look like while Kia glared at her. Oh, now you got me wanting to meet him. Yeah. Kia mutters as she turns and walks away, faster than normal. Now let's go and find this secret location you were talking about. Zara got out of her daydreaming and saw her best friend walking away. She ran after her. Hey, wait a second, what's this boy's name? I'm not telling, Kia said as she started to run ahead. I want to know his name, Kia, come on, Zara chased after her with a pout on her face as Kia laughed at her. While this was happening, hidden in the shadows, a figure in a black hooded cloak stepped out and watched them go. Their face was hidden by the shadows, but their mouth wasn't, and it showed that they looked surprised. Chaos. A god. Now that sounds interesting. The figure stepped back and vanished within the shadows, intent to learn more of this chaos creature by following the two girls. This is it? Kia asked, tilting her head to the side. She and Zara were currently staring at a hidden small cave entrance. Right now, the two were away from the main island and were on one of the smaller islands, where the older kids would often play. But this smaller island holds many mysteries, especially when it concerns the ancients, and that's why Zara and the gang were surprised when they discovered a cave that no one hasn't seen or noticed. This is it. Zara said as she rubbed her hands together in an evil manner. Our journey through the secret passage begins. You seem excited. Kia deadpanned at her friend's odd behavior. Of course I am, Zara exclaimed as a fiery aura appeared around her. This will be the most awesome adventure we have ever been on. Who knows what secrets this secret passage might hold, which is why we must check it out. Kia's sweat dropped as she saw the fiery aura erupt further while she continued to talk. She laughed sheepishly. Zara is just so adventurous that it's contagious. But then again, she's been like this ever since they were kids. Hey, huh? Kia and Zara both looked back and saw their friends running up to them. Roku Kyanana. Roku is a slim well-muscled older teen. He has red wavy shoulder-length hair and grey eyes. He wore an orange tribal shirt with matching colored shorts. Hyun is slightly younger, being the little brother of the group. He has short jet black hair and blue eyes. He was shirtless, showing his slim figure, and he wore red tribal pants. Anna is the third female of the group. She has blonde hair tied into a long braided ponytail and brown eyes. She wore a simple red and orange dress with sunflower designs on them. They each wore the same bracelet as Kia and Zara, though they were in different patterns and colors. Everyone's here, Zara exclaimed. I thought you guys said you were busy today. We were. Roku smiles cheekily. But when the men came back, we were off the hook. Plus, we knew you would try to get Kia on board and explore the secret place together without us. Kyon continued. Which I might add was a dirty trick, Zara. Anna pouted. We know how excited you are to go and explore the unknown, but the least you could do is wait for us. Alright, Zara scratched her cheek sheepishly. Well, you guys are here now. Kia spoke up. So let's start exploring. Yeah, Zara cheered, fist bumping the air. Zara's Explorers is officially a go, let's do this, she ran and entered the small cave. We told you not to call us that, everyone yelled, small veins hovering above their heads. They looked at each other and laughed a little bit before following their friend. They entered the small cave one after the other, the boys obviously first until Kia was the last one. Once she entered, she saw everyone's back towards her. She looked up and saw that they were staring at what looked like a door of some sort. The door was decorated with designs and had a blue jewel in the center. Whoa, Kia said in awe. Yeah. Whoa. Zara agreed before clapping her hands. Well, let's check it out. She ran up to the door and tried to push it open. It won't budge. Come on, let's help her out. Roku said as the others nodded and they tried to push the door open as well, though they were struggling. While they were doing that, Zara was looking at the door, a hand under her chin as she tried to figure out how to open the door. Zara saw something that caught her attention. She turns and walks to it. Kyon grit his teeth. Open, Kia struggled. Maybe there's a password. Anna suggested. Like what? Open sesame. Roku asked sarcastically. The moment those words were said, the jewel started to glow brightly, making everyone look on in surprise. Then the doors start to open automatically, making everyone, except Zara, fall back comically. It worked. They yelled. Nope, everyone turned to Zara and saw she was holding a lever, a happy smile on her face. I found a switch. A switch. That made everyone fall back harder than before. Everyone stood up and looks inside the room, seeing that it led to a tomb. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go. Zara went inside the tomb first, while everyone else stayed to look at the switch and the door. I honestly thought that worked. Roku said, a deadpan expression on his face. The others nodded and went in to explore the tomb. Kia stopped and looked back for a moment. Just now, she could have sworn she felt like something was watching her. Seeing that there was nothing, she shrugged and went down. I wonder what Naruto is doing on Angel Island. Unknown to her, the figure from before appeared, standing in front of the door, eyes narrowed in the dark of their hood. Naruto. And this Angel Island that girl was talking about earlier with her friend. Is this Naruto, the same boy she was talking about before? The one with that special connection with the god Chaos? Let's find out. The figure spoke in a boy's voice as he stepped down the stairs. Meanwhile, Mystic Ruins. Lost World. Deep inside the center ruins of the Lost World, Naruto is sitting on the floor, staring up at the mural of perfect chaos, destroying the entire Knuckles clan, a dazed look on his face. Naruto would often come to this place, mostly to pay his respects to Chaos, or to just sit there and look at the mural, seemingly lost in thoughts. No, the right words are is. Because this is the only image of Chaos, even though he's in his perfect form. It's funny. Naruto said softly as he moved his hand to touch the Chaos Star pendant. No matter how much I look at this mural, that sea monster. He looks down at his hand as water begins to appear from his open palm, taking the shape of a miniature perfect chaos. I can't believe that's you, Chaos. The little perfect chaos gave out a cute roar before it vanished into a splash. Naruto smiled bitterly, looking up at the mural, a sad look in his eyes. Guess that's what happens when one uses the negative power of the Chaos Emeralds, huh? It always made Naruto curious about something. From what Chaos showed him in his memories, all of the forms the water god took on were from using the negative chaos energy. He never once saw any positive forms he took. So then if Chaos used positive chaos energy, what would all of his forms look like? What would perfect chaos's true form look like? Would it still look like in the mural and from what Naruto saw in the memories? Or would it be different? Matter of fact, what would Naruto himself look like if he absorbed the Chaos Emeralds? In the past, Naruto wanted to try and see for himself what he would like. But he didn't do it. Because deep down, he would never use the Chaos Emeralds for his own simple curiosity, especially knowing how powerful and dangerous they are. So if anything, he would use the emeralds in case he's dealing with a very powerful threat that could no doubt destroy the world. Hell, maybe even the universe. Hopefully, it won't come to that. Naruto said, standing up and stretching his limbs. But then again, nothing world-threatening hasn't popped out yet. He turns and walks away. So I highly doubt that I would need to use the emeralds. However, something in his gut told him wrong. It told him something horrible was going to happen. And whatever it was gonna happen soon. Chapter 4, Twilight Island. The Secret Labyrinth. Okay, I think we might be getting close to the center, Zara said happily. You said that 25 minutes ago, everyone yelled tiredly as they dragged themselves across the floor. This time for sure, Zara added, still smiling happily. Everyone else just groaned in annoyance. The Zara explorers have just got finished going over all of the deadly traps inside the ruins, along with going through multiple platforms. To be honest, the ruins were like a maze. They didn't know where they were going or what they were searching for. But they did know one thing, whatever was in these ruins, the ancients did not want people to find if those deadly traps proved anything. It was all the more reason for the group to see what it was that was hidden in this ancient ruin. Let's face it. We're lost, Kia exclaimed. Do you even know where we're going, Zara? Kion asked tiredly. Of course I do, we just got to follow the path, Zara said, making everyone groan. That's not telling us anything. Anna frowned. Will you guys relax? Zara asked, looking back at everyone with a light on her face. We're this close to the treasure, I can feel it in my very bones. Sure you can. Roku sent a deadpan expression at her. Kia was gonna say something but suddenly stopped. Kion noticed this and stopped as well. What's wrong, Kia? He asked as everyone stopped and turned to their miracle friend. They blinked at what they saw. Kia's face right now showed fear and nervousness. Guys, there's something straight ahead of us. Everyone looked surprised. What? There's something here? Zara asked, looking forward. Dead ahead. What is it, Kia? Anna asked, concerned for her friend. I don't know what it is, but there's more of them. I can sense darkness and anger inside them. Kia's response once again surprised everyone and it made them a little nervous. Are they coming towards us? Roku asked, a serious tone fit for a leader. Kia shook her head. It's like they're frozen solid. Everyone looked towards one another in worriedness. They know that their friend's spiritual powers are on the spot, after all, they have seen it for themselves. Come on. Let's go. Zara said, walking forward before Kion stopped. Hold up, Zara. Didn't you hear what Kia said? There's something down there and whatever it is isn't alone. The youngest of the group told her. He's right. Anna said, looking around nervously. Maybe we should head back while we can. Hold on. Kia said, getting everyone's attention once again. I still want to go. Akira Roku was about to say. I know what I said. Kia said calmly. But I also want to know what it is that's down here and what's causing all of these feelings. She walked forward, taking the lead this time. I have to know what's up ahead. The group watched Kia go while they looked at each other uncertainty. You heard her, let's go people, Zara told everyone as she ran forward to catch up with Kia, with the others following close behind her. As the group caught up with Kia, they began to see a bright light at the end of the passage. Once they got close to the light, they saw it was a door with a glowing blue jewel in it. They stopped and examined it. It's behind this door. Kia trembles. They were here now. Whatever it was the ancients wanted to lock away, it was behind this door. If she was honest with herself, Kia felt nervous and a little scared. This was the first time in her life that she felt like this before. After all, Twilight Island has been in peace for years now since its founding. But to think that there was something else down here, underneath their noses for so long, fills her with dread at what was in that room. Plus, there were more of them. Each of them feeling the same thing as the other. Anger and rage. But the most powerful feeling she felt from one of them was hatred. A deep burning hatred that made her want to run away. It has been a while since she felt such hatred before. The last time was when she saw Chaos transform into his perfect form and almost destroyed the world. What scared Kia the most is that it was similar to Chaos the day he let his fury consume him and almost destroyed his world if not for Tycho. This was something even greater than Chaos's fury. It was a part of her spiritual powers after all. She can see and feel the aura of just about anyone or anything, be it people, animals or even objects. Now mind you, there is a difference between aura and chakra. Chakra is a form of life energy that is within the bodies of everyone in the world, which shinobi manipulates in order to perform ninjutsu. Aura meanwhile is a field of energy or light that surrounds every physical body. Each and every individual on the planet has an aura that comes in various colors called the spiritual colors of aura. These spiritual colors vary based on the state the aura is in. And right now, whatever was behind this door is dangerous. Very dangerous. Kia? Zara asked, breaking her friend out of her thoughts. Are you okay? Why yeah, Kia nodded, turning to look at everyone who looked worried or concerned. She gave a small smile at them. Sorry. She turns to the door, putting both hands on it as she takes a deep breath and has a determined look in her eyes. Let's go. As she pushed the door open, a bright light erupted from the room, making everyone cover their eyes. The light slowly died down as everyone uncovered their eyes. Once they did, their eyes widened in stunned disbelief. The room led to a secret laboratory. The lab looked ancient yet still highly advanced, as there were holographic images of certain locations, various different machines, a lab table, a large computer, and just about anything you would find in a lab. Gul Kyan said excitedly as he ran inside the room with everyone following after him. While they were looking around the lab, Kia didn't pay it any mind as she was too focused on the task at hand. Her eyes moved around the lab before they landed on a door. She narrowed her eyes at it as she felt multiple dark presences within that room. In there. She thought as she walked towards the door, and it opened automatically, seeing that it was completely dark inside before entering it as it closed behind her. Awesome, a hidden lab, Zara said in excitement as stars appeared around her. She had comically transformed into a chibi and was appearing all over the place touching things. Who would have thought that the ancients had a lab hidden on this island? Anna said, looking at the holographic images. Why would they hide something like this? Kyan asked, looking at the unique tools on a table. From the looks of it, I think they were working on something. Roku said, a curious look on his face. But what? A loud gasp was heard along with the sound of shattered glass, which made the group turn to the source of it and saw it came from behind a door. Everyone get in here now, Kia's alarmed voice called out to them. Kia they ran to the door and entered the room where they saw Kia standing in front of them. They immediately circled around her and saw a horrified expression on her face. Kia, what's wrong? Zara asked. Kia didn't reply, instead she pointed a finger upward to show them what she was looking at that spooked her. They looked up and what they saw made their eyes widen. There were 6 glass tubes in front of them. But it was what was inside of them that shocked them and scared Kia. There were 6 humanoid creatures the children have never seen before, except for Kia, as those creatures look very familiar to her. Each of those creatures looked the same, but they look like they were composed of different elements: fire, ice, wind, darkness, lightning and earth. What are they? Roku asked. I've never seen those creatures before. Anna said. Kia, do you know what they are? Kyan asked her curiously. He turned to her and blinked when he saw her back away slightly, shaking her head in denial at what she was looking at. It can't be, Kia said, trying to wrap her mind around this. Chaos. Chaos, Zara asked in disbelief and confusion. As in the same chaos from your dreams? I thought you said he was a water spirit and that there was only one of him. He is a water spirit. Kia told her, through gritted teeth as she felt the dangerous aura the 6 chaos beings were sending off despite them being frozen. And there is only one of him. But it's them, they're the ones who were giving off those dark feelings I've been sensing. Everyone looked shocked as they stared at Kia before looking back up at the creatures in front of them. Kia herself looked at each and every one of the chaos lookalikes before setting her sights on the darkness one. It was the one that had the strongest negative feelings out of the others. Plus, the way it looked made chills run down her spine. It kinda seems to give off vibes that it was the leader of these chaos clones. The way they look like chaos in his zero form. Kia thought to herself. That's one of the most obvious things she noticed about these clones. They all look like the original chaos from Tycho's memories and not like the form Naruto took the other day. Just what was going on? Hey guys, look at this, Sarah called out, staring up at a computer screen. She looked at the keyboard and cracked her fingers. Let's see what's up with these things. She pressed a few buttons just as everyone came to her and watched her do her thing. After pressing one last button, the computer screen turned on, making Zara step back from it as everyone looked up at it. Then a video suddenly appeared. There was someone wearing a brown cloak with a hood covering their face. Judging from the long gray beard, they could guess that it was an old man. But that gray beard came from a visible muzzle. No way. Roku said in shock. Oh my gosh, Anna whispered in surprise. Is that who I think it is? Kyan asked. It is, Zara said happily. One of the ancients. Kia said, wide-eyed. To anyone who finds this hidden chamber, I commend you on entering this far and going through all those traps. The old ancient said before his voice took on a sad tone. But, I also hope and pray that everyone on the island is still alive in whatever era it is. That caught the children's attention. You must be wondering what I am talking about. The ancient asked as though he heard their thoughts. I am talking about the biggest mistake I have made in all my years of living in this world. I don't like this. Kia said to herself, a dreaded feeling entering her stomach. Many years ago we, the ancients, had detected an unknown interdimensional energy anomaly. What this means is that the anomaly came from another dimension and we pinpointed its location. 3 of my comrades and I went to this location by aircraft and discovered the anomaly. It was an island, floating in the skies above. That caught Kia's attention as she blinks in surprise and slight shock. A floating island? Kyan asked, tilting his head. Hey, that sounds like Anna trailed off looking towards Kia. It is. Kia mumbled to herself. He's talking about Angel Island. So wait, Angel Island appeared here when the ancients were still hanging around on this world. After we landed on the floating island, we followed the energy source of the anomaly and found ourselves at an altar. The altar had a giant green emerald, and the energy it gave off was even more powerful than the chaos crystals back in our world. It wasn't just the large emerald we saw. There were also smaller emeralds floating on top of the destroyed pillars surrounding the altar itself. They each gave off the same energy reading as the giant emerald. Hyun paused the video real quick and turned to Kia. You know what he's talking about? He asked curiously, getting everyone's attention. Kia nodded. The Master Emerald and the Chaos Emeralds. The Chaos Emeralds are 7 mystical emeralds that hold great and unimaginable power. With just one of them, they transform your thoughts into power. But when all 7 are gathered, a miracle will happen. What about the Master Emerald? Roku asked, looking wide-eyed at the new information just as everyone else was. Think of it as a father or mother to the Chaos Emeralds. The Master Emerald contains special powers that neutralize the energy of the Chaos Emeralds, meaning it can amplify their power or shut them down. Kia explained, much to everyone's amazement. However, only those from Tycho's clan are able to harness the Master Emerald's full potential. And since you're Tycho's reincarnate, Zara trailed off, her eyes slowly widening. That means. Yeah. Kia nodded once more as she pushed the play button. It meant that she herself has the power to control the Master Emerald. As we studied the giant emerald, we saw these small floating creatures watching us from afar. We believed that they were the inhabitants of the floating island. However, as we tried to communicate with them to ask them some questions, we were suddenly attacked by some water creature that came out of the giant emerald. Everyone gasped. The creature didn't kill us, but instead simply kicked us out of its sacred place. After that encounter, we sent word of what happened to our comrades on Twilight Island, and they were just as surprised as we were. They had given us a choice as to whether we could stay or head back to Twilight Island. But I didn't want to leave. I was determined to learn more of the floating island, those emeralds and that water creature. So, with a unanimous decision made, my team decided to stay. Whoa. So the ancients stayed at Angel Island? Zara asked excitedly. How cool is she? Was stopped by Kia, who put her hand on her mouth. SHH, he's still going. Tycho's incarnate was focused solely on the monitor, wanting to listen more and find out about the Chaos clone. As we stayed on the floating island, we visited many of its locations to learn more about its history. We even discovered some new creatures as well, but they spoke another language. So far we were stuck with nothing. But then we found a temple in the middle of a rainforest. It was there that we found the answers that we were seeking. As we explored the temple, we have learned that it held so much history about the floating island, which we later found out was Angel Island. But nothing could prepare us for when we saw the mural of the water deity that attacked us in its perfect form. The mural of chaos. The video suddenly began to glitch as it showed said mural before it stopped. It stopped, the children yelled out, Kia being the loudest of the group. No, 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 don't you dare glitch on us now, Kia angrily told the computer as she kicked it before suddenly slamming her fist on the keyboard, shaking it slightly. Fortunately, by doing so, the video resumed. After learning about the island's history, we went to the altar once more to confront Chaos, to let it know that we came in peace. Thankfully, Chaos didn't attack us when it came out of the Master Emerald. However, the moment it did, we noticed that it was trying to keep its form compass before going back inside the Master Emerald. Thanks to the Chow communicator that we invented, we had asked the Chow in the area what was wrong with Chaos, and we had learned something that was heartbreaking. The old man explained, looking down sadly. It was dying. The children all gasped from that stunned revelation, especially Kia, since she had no idea about that. We talked with the Chow to find out what happened, and we learned that the world that they came from has been destroyed. Due to the amount of chaos energy needed to transport Angel Island to this world, Chaos had used both the Master Emerald and Chaos Emeralds to initiate an ability called Chaos Control. But because Chaos itself is a liquid-based lifeform made of said energy, it had also used its own energy as well. In other words, if Chaos were to leave the Master Emerald, it would die as it needs Chaos energy to sustain its form. Kia gasped from that little detail. She had no idea that Chaos also used his own Chaos energy to transport Angel Island into this world. Chaos. Once the Chow have told us everything we needed to know and more, we began to ask ourselves more and more questions. Why did Angel Island come here? What was so special about this world that it would be here of all places? Was it because of the shinobi that exists in this world and their chakra or something else? Thankfully, the Chow answered all of our questions and told us that Chaos was waiting for someone. He was waiting for a boy. The children looked confused while Zara and Kia looked wide-eyed. Huh? Roku and Kyon blinked. Chaos was waiting for a boy? Anna asked. She looks up thoughtfully. I wonder who it is. The boy Zara trailed off before looking at Kia with excitement in her eyes. Hey Kia, that sounds like Naruto. Kia finished, looking wide-eyed. He's talking about Naruto. The others looked at them before looking at each other in confusion. Naruto. They asked at the same time, all three of them looking perplexed by a name which meant fish cake. As we were about to send word about this to Twilight Island, the Chow told us the boy hasn't been born yet, but he will be in the future, and the Master Emerald will bring him to Angel Island when the time comes. I believe the Chaos intends to pass its powers onto this boy, making him become the next guardian of Angel Island. Or to be more precise, turn him into a demigod, a human with the powers of a god. Wow, a human with the powers of a god? Zara asked in excitement. Naruto must be really powerful, huh? And Kia smiled and nodded her head. It's true. Naruto and Chaos did meet each other, and now Naruto inherited Chaos's powers, just like how she inherited Tycho's powers. The video begins to glitch once more, but it was clearly obvious that it was skipping some stuff. I don't know how long it will be for Chaos to meet this child, or when this child will be born, but I feared for Chaos's incoming demise, because without Chaos, then the emeralds would be in danger by those who would seek to use their power for evil. So I devised a plan to create a clone of Chaos. Kia's eyes were narrowed as she spared a glance at the clones. So the ancients did create them. But that's just crazy. However, in order for it to be successful, I needed Chaos's cooperation in order to acquire its unique data structure. When we returned to the pillar, Chaos came out of the emerald and was going to attack again, but thankfully we were prepared this time. The children looked at each other with raised brows. Prepared how? I had a portable stasis pod prepared which we caught Chaos in. I took Chaos back to the ship where I will gather its data. While I was doing that, my comrades rebuilt the altar of the emeralds and the bridge that leads to it. The screen changed to show what the altar looked like in the past, before it changed to show its current state, much to the children's, except for Kia, surprise and awe. Awesome, Zara exclaimed. I'll say. It certainly looks better than before. Roku nods in agreement. Kia nodded as well. Truth be told, she was surprised to honestly see the altar the way it was. She expected to see an old and destroyed altar like she saw in Tycho's memories, not a new and improved altar. This altar looks exactly like the one from Tycho's era, except this one was more high-tech. The screen changed to show the old ancient again. After I was finished examining Chaos and taking some of its essence, I released it. It immediately went back to the Master Emerald. Once my comrades were finished with what they were doing, we returned to Twilight Island to begin our project. Reflection. Zara asked, raising a brow at the name before giggling. Never thought the ancients would come up with such cheesy names. The group had to agree with that. Once we returned to Twilight Island, we immediately went to our lab and got to work on Project Reflection. With all of the data on Chaos, its essence gathered, along with our advanced science and technology, we were close to achieving our goal. However, the video began to show various clips of the ancients getting to work on making Chaos's clone using its essence, only for them to run wild. The clips showed the ancients experimenting on Chaos's essence. Kia and her friends flinched slightly, watching as one of Chaos's essences basically slaps an ancient across the face, making it fly back. Kia herself couldn't believe that the ancients forced Chaos into a pod and stole its essence just to try to make a clone. Plus with the way they were experimenting on them, it made Kia think that Chaos might have been in pain too, as he probably felt what was happening to them. Though I'll admit we did have a few drawbacks from time to time and we were going to cancel it. But then I remembered something. Chaos was once a Chow before long exposure to the Master Emerald mutated it and brought forth the water god. If that was possible, then I've been going about it the wrong way. Instead of trying to create a clone of Chaos, I could create a whole new Chaos. Create a new Chaos? Roku asked, raising a brow. What does that mean, Kia? Anna asked. Anna blinks at not getting a response. Kia. She turned around only for her eyes to widen as she saw Kia go pale in horror and saw her clench and unclench her fists. Chaos was a Chow mutated by the Master Emerald. Kia asked herself before her eyes widened in horror. No, please tell me they didn't. But that in mind, I quickly got on my ship and raced back to Angel Island. As soon as I made it, I went to the Chow colony in the Mystic Ruins. I gathered about 5 Chow eggs and was going to leave until I saw something that caught my eye. It was a normal Chow by itself, but it was being covered in a pink and orange cocoon. I realized then that the Chow was going to evolve into a Chaos Chow, or Light Chow as I call them. Once the Chow was fully enveloped by the cocoon, I brought it with me. The video glitched as the ancient's voice became glitched and distorted. While that happened, all the children complained, but Kia went stiff as she felt her heart kept beating her chest, eyes filled with fear. Please don't tell me they actually did it. Kia whispered as she began to tremble. She began to have flashbacks of seeing the Chow from Tycho's memories and how sweet, adorable and innocent they were in those memories before the Knuckles clan's attack on the altar. If she found out that those ancients actually pulled that kind of stunt, The video went back to the old ancient, this time showing a picture of a purple two-tone light chow sleeping inside the pod. That was a complete success. After the light chow was born, we placed it inside the stasis pod, where it immediately fell asleep upon its birth. We then filled the pod up with energy from the Master Emerald, along with Chaos's data. Much to our amazement, the light chow absorbed the energy, and it began to mutate. The video changed again, this time showing the energy-filled pod that was being absorbed into the chow, with the ancients watching in awe as it started to mutate. The children's eyes went wide in shock as they saw the stasis pod open up and purple feet stepping out. The light chow fully stepped out of the pod, revealing its form. "Oh my god," Kia whispered, staring at the former light chow. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. They actually did it. Those monsters experimented on that chow and actually turned it into a chaos. The light chow now looked to be around Chaos's height. It was purple, similar to how it looked in its chow form. It wasn't even a liquid-based lifeform like Chaos was, though its hands and flaps were a liquefied blue. "Oh, snap," Zara said, wide-eyed. "That's awesome," Kyon said, staring at the purple chaos in awe. "They made another chaos," Anna exclaimed. Project Reflection was a complete success. The chow had turned into a chaos. We had never felt such happiness before, but I was the most happy of all, because now Angel Island will have a new protector once chaos is gone. We decided to give it a name and called him Order. The ancient explained. "Order," Kia said, letting the name escape her lips. "Order and chaos. That oddly sounds familiar. What was that old saying again? Oh yeah. From chaos comes order. Order being stable and predictable. Chaos on the other hand is unpredictable. You can't have one without the other, as they must exist at the same time, no matter what world you live in. That is the concept that has always existed. That's probably why they gave him his name." Kia thought with a sweat drop. Zara was right about the ancients. They really do come up with such cheesy names. But wait a sec, what happened to those chow eggs the ancient took? As time passed, we tested Order. He had the same abilities as the original Chaos, along with the same loving personality. We knew this because we took Order out to the village. Everyone loved Order, and in return Order loved them. The old man's happy tone suddenly turned to grave. But that all ended one day when one of the villagers, an old woman who studied dark magic, became fearful of Order, calling him a demon. The old woman threw something at Order, a container that had some black energy liquid inside it. When the container hit Order, he had changed. Everyone gasped in shock from that. They immediately knew that that was not a good sign. The video changed to show the event taking place. The children watched as the old woman pointed at Order and was yelling at him, no doubt saying awful stuff, while everyone else looked on in shock at the woman, while others glared at her. Despite being on screen, Kia could see the sad and hurtful look in Order's eyes, which made her feel absolutely sad for the poor thing. The woman then threw the bottle, which definitely and it slammed onto Order's whole body. Order grips his head as he unknowingly absorbed the black liquid. A black pillar erupted around him, covering his whole body from view. After the woman threw that potion, Order's form had completely changed. He was now pitch black, as if to show he had fallen to darkness, and his powers were greatly increased. After that had happened, Order killed the old woman that turned him and then started his assault on everyone else. The children's eyes widened in shock and horror. They just couldn't believe what they were hearing. A gentle creature who was loved by everyone in the whole village, only to end up getting hated on by a witch who caused him to change into what he is now, a killing machine. Kia looked towards Order, with tears in her eyes. He was exactly like the original Chaos, a peaceful creature with a warm heart. Now, because of that old woman's fear of him, she had turned him into a being full of anger and hatred, just like Chaos had back in his world, before he turned nice again, thanks to Sonic. The village warriors tried their best to take Order down, but he was too much for them to handle. After all, Order is a clone of a god. I, however, was prepared in case something like this were to happen to Order, so I made a backup plan. They're called Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors? Kyon repeated. So that's what those things are called. Roku said, looking at them. Some time after Order was made, I completely forgot about the 5 chow eggs I brought with me. They were hatched and were running around the lab while we were testing out Order. The ancient explained. Oh no, Kia said, eyes widened in alarm, which everyone else did. Since the 5 chow were left unattended, they destroyed the canister which held Chaos's essence inside it and the other which held large amounts of Chaos energy. The essence had split itself and completely covered the chow, while at the same time the Chaos energy had leaked all around the room. The chow had absorbed both Chaos's essence and the access energy of the Chaos energy, causing them to mutate and become Chaos themselves. Say what, the children yelled in comical shock. Kia just looked wide-eyed at the screen before turning to the Chaos clones. Before the ancient could speak, the video glitched for a couple seconds before it returned to normal. I sent the Chaos Warriors after Order, and together they were able to stop him from taking any more lives. Just as we were about to bring him to the lab, Order had done something to the Chaos Warriors. That made everyone else all tensed up. Order launched an attack. The attack hit the Chaos Warriors at the same time, and each of them had changed just like Order did. While Order controlled the darkness, the others were turned into different elementals. Fire, ice, lightning, wind and earth. It then became apparent that Order had become the new official leader of the Chaos Warriors. "Oh man," Kion whispered. After the Chaos Warriors changed, it became an all-out war on Twilight Island. They destroyed nearly all the things that we created and slaughtered everyone, from men, women and even young children. Even some of my fellow ancients fell to those creatures as well. The boys clenched their fists tightly in anguish and bowed their heads in sorrow for those who were lost. The girls, Zara and Anna, meanwhile had tears falling from their eyes as they hugged each other in comfort. Kia was trembling as she covered her mouth in horror. I had to do anything to stop the Chaos Warriors from destroying the island and killing everyone on it, otherwise they would leave and no doubt try to go to Angel Island to get the emeralds, and more than likely kill Chaos. Thankfully, a miracle had appeared before us. A miracle? The children asked. The youngest son of the Sage of Six Paths, Asura Tsutsuki, had appeared and fought the Chaos Warriors by himself. The ancient revealed, much to the children's shock. "Whoa, hold up," Zara exclaimed, pausing the video. "The Sage of Six Paths, the father of all shinobi, one of his children was here and he fought those things." "That's amazing," Anna said, an awestruck expression. "Yeah, who would have thought the son of a legendary figure would come here?" Kion asked. "But why was he here?" Roku asked, a suspicious look on his face. "What exactly was the child of the Sage of Six Paths doing here back then? Let's find out." Kia said as she played the video once again. "I believe Asura was brought here because he sensed what was happening and came here to stop it. As he fought the Chaos Warriors, I remembered Chaos's weakness which the Chaos Warriors shared along with Order. It was the brain, or better yet the head. Telling the Sage's son this, he used the weakness and defeated the Chaos Warriors while I trapped them in the portable containment units I had." "Way to go, old man," Zara said, impressed by this old man's guts which was shared by everyone. As for Order, he tried to escape, but thankfully he was caught by Asura. While that happened, I managed to suck the chaos energy I've given him out, leaving him in an already weakened state, similar to Chaos. And like Chaos himself, he will need someone to pass his powers onto as well, otherwise he'll die too. In all honesty, I truly hope that Order does die before that happens. After all, the Knuckles clan once called Chaos the god of destruction after what he did to them. Well, Order has earned that title." He agreed with the old man. "If anyone were to find out about Order and the powers he have, the world will no doubt be in danger. After I put Order in the containment tube, I sealed him and the Chaos Warriors inside this room. I gave the Chaos Warriors new names in addition to their power, and I the Fire Chaos, Frost the Ice Chaos, Zenon the Thunder Chaos, Gaia the Earth Chaos and finally, Vayu the Wind Chaos." The old man sighed heavily but softly. After thanking Asura for rescuing us, the two of us talked, mainly me explaining to him what had happened on this island. Once I was finished explaining, he told me his reason for coming here. Just as I thought, he sensed a disturbance and followed it to our hidden island, not only that we learned that both the Sage of Six Paths and his son were at. The video soon began to glitch again, making the screen become static. The children all groaned as they knew the video was skipping some stuff and were curious about what he was going to say. With an annoyed look on her face, Kia then karate chopped the keyboard, making it return to normal. That day still haunts me along with my regret of starting this project. The people of Twilight Island, my comrades, they all died because of me. Because of my fear that Chaos will die soon without getting the chance to meet this boy that Chao was talking about and because the emeralds would be in danger. If I had just left things the way they were, none of this would have happened, the old man said sadly. After we buried those who perished in the attack, we wiped away everyone's memories of that horrifying day. What? The children's eyes widened in shock and anger. Wiped away everyone's memories? Roku asked in anger. How could they do something like that? Why would they do that? I know what we did was wrong and selfish, but we couldn't let everyone on Twilight Island remember that day. Otherwise, the moment they meet the original Chaos or the boy whom he passed its powers to, they will hate him for my mistakes, and I didn't want that. A few days later, the chief and some of the villagers came back from a trip they went to. When asked what had happened, we told everyone that we were attacked by monsters and they murdered nearly everyone. Eventually, after months of mourning for those we lost, everything went back to normal. Nobody knew what happened that day except for us. The old man had tears fall from his eyes. He tried to wipe them away, but more just fell. I send this message to the people of Twilight Island and to Chaos. I am so terribly sorry for what I've done to you. To all of you. To Chaos's successor, if you are watching this right now, I must tell you this about the Chaos Warriors. Even though the islanders were able to hit their weak spots, it wasn't enough for them to be beaten by ordinary people. Remember, they are Chaos's essence, meaning they are a part of you. As I said before about order, he wasn't made by using chaos's essence, but he is still connected to it as we used chaos's data on it. You must stop them at all costs or your world will be doomed. The video starts to glitch once more. Please right this wrong that I have brought to this world. The video glitched a couple of more times before it powered down. The children all stared at the computer, eyes widened in shock and fear. They slowly turned to order and the Chaos Warriors, all the while shaking and trembling. "Gee guys?" Kyon asked nervously, stepping back away from the tubes. "We gotta go." Kia whispered, stepping back. "We have to leave." I second that. Zara raised her hands, stepping back as well. Me too." Anna stuttered. Roku glared at Order and the Chaos Warriors. "Listen up," he said in a steel voice which is fit for a leader. "We cannot tell anybody about this. Otherwise this will cause a panic. Does everybody agree?" Everyone nodded. They sure as hell don't want that to happen soon. "Let's go." I saw an elevator in the other room. "We can use it to get out of here." Roku quickly walked away, leaving the room, along with everyone else. Kia stopped and looked at the glass tubes for a moment with a frown on her face. But then she turned to Order, giving him a glare, but then trembled as she felt as though he was glaring back at her. "I have to go back to Angel Island and get Naruto. He needs to come here now." She ran to join the others and entered the elevator. Unknown to the children, someone was in the room with them the whole time, watching the video and listening to their conversation. Walking out of the shadows, the figure in the black coat came out. He looked at the computer screen before turning to the glass tubes. He walked up to the tubes and stood in front of Order. If his face was shown, an awestruck look would be seen. "Order. The god of destruction," the boy said. He touched the glass tube as words echoed in his head. "On a faraway island, there is a god. A god the likes of which this world has never seen before. You and that god will form a powerful bond and do battle with someone very similar to you, a boy who moves like the water. This battle will decide who shall control this world. But know this, child, only one may live and the other shall fall." "What do you know? That oracle was right after all," the boy said to himself. He pushed a button on the tube as hissing noises were heard. The boy stepped back as the tube opened. Order's eyes glowed an eerie dark purple as he glared at the boy, who remained where he was. Order jumped from the tube and stretched his limbs out to the boy's face, only for it to stop, making the boy stare at the three-finger palm blankly. "Morning." Order's arm fell down to the floor while it fell on its knees and kept its other arm in place. The arm returned to its normal position and was on all fours. The Shadow Chaos heard the boy walking up to him, making him glare up at him. "Looks like the old man was right. You are weakened and dying, just like Chaos." The boy smirked as Order's glare intensified. "Oh? Don't like being compared to Chaos, huh? Well, it's understandable, after all he is the real deal." Order, having enough of hearing this boy, tried to stand up and attack him but couldn't as he fell back. He just couldn't keep his form the way he wanted it to. "Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your big brother was in the same state as you're in now." That caught Order's attention. He's been waiting on a kid to pass his powers onto. And from what I heard it's already happened. In other words, Chaos no longer exists. Order glared at the boy. He couldn't sense any lies coming from his lips. The boy spoke the truth and it made Order clench his fists tightly before he punched the floor, only to see that his form was starting to act up. "You have been frozen for a long time. The ones who locked you and your siblings away are dead. Also, without being inside the Master Emerald like Chaos has, you don't have enough Chaos energy to hold your form." The boy continued. "Like Chaos, you need to pass your powers onto someone as well, otherwise you'll cease to exist. And that person? Well, he's standing right in front of you." He got Order's attention. What was this child going on about? The Black Chaos then looked surprised when the boy fell on his knees and started coughing badly to the point where he started coughing out blood on the floor. Looking at the boy's face more closely, Order could see that he looked deathly pale and could almost die at any moment. "Listen," the boy wheezed out as he stopped coughing. "I want power. Power to get my revenge on the bastards who robbed me of my childhood. The bastards who took everything I love and hold dear away from me. But as I am now I'm weak." The boy scowled as he clenched his fist so tight he was able to draw blood, making Order actually look surprised. That wasn't all Order was surprised about. He could literally see and feel the darkness surrounding the boy. This darkness could very well match his own. Something that he absolutely likes. "You and Chaos are a lot alike. You both started off as a small creature but got mutated and became gods. But there's a difference between you two." The boy continued as Order paid close attention to him. "Chaos is a guardian god and you are a god of destruction, both sides of the same coin. I want revenge. You want revenge. And that makes us more alike than you thought. It's almost like we share a connection." He smirks. Like Chaos and his kid, he weakly held his bloodied hand out to Order. "So what do you say?" Order looked at the hand then back to the boy. It was true. He did want revenge. He got his revenge on that witch who made him this way. He wants revenge on the ancients for taking him from his home, turning him into and then sealing him and his siblings. And most of all, he wants revenge on Chaos. But like the boy said, the ancients are dead along with his big brother. No, Chaos wasn't gone. He still lived on in that boy that he's been waiting for. Meaning that there is still a chance, but he doesn't have much time left. He can feel his life draining him the longer he waits. Order looked up to the boy and still held his hand before grabbing it as his eyes glowed purple along with the boy. A bright purple glow erupted from their connected hands. Order's whole body turned into a mass of swirling darkness as it slammed into the boy. Raya, with Kia's group. Kia gasped loudly as she suddenly fell forward on the boat she was riding in with her friends, holding onto her head. Kia, her friends cried out as they ran to her. Kia, what's wrong? Zara asked, grabbing her friend's shoulder. The darkness, Kia said in pain as she gripped her head tighter. So much terrible darkness she looks back at the neighboring island with wide scared eyes. No, please no. A bright purple pillar erupted from within the hidden temple and shot out towards the sky, making the wind become stronger as it also created stronger waves that pushed the boats further. Whoa, what the hell is going on? Roku asked, holding on tightly to the boat. I think you mean, what the hell is that? Zara asked, pointing at the purple pillar only to notice the clouds darken. I don't know, Anna exclaimed. Kia, what's going on? Kian asked. It's its order, Kia yelled over the roar of the waves. What? Meanwhile, Angel Island. Altar of the Emeralds. I won't give up, no I won't give in, till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. Though I'm on the lead, I want to try everything, I want to try even though I could fail. Back on Angel Island, Naruto lies down at the altar, enjoying the nice sun and cool wind while singing a song and listening to his iPod C. The chow that were nearby heard him singing, and they were dancing or singing with him. Naruto always did have an amazing singing voice. It was obvious that he became inspired to sing after listening to the music from Chaos's world. He would often sing to some newborn chow, animals or wisps. He even sang to himself sometimes, usually when he's at the mural of perfect chaos or at Azure Lake, but there were also times when he would sing because he just loves it so much after doing it for so long. Before Naruto could sing the next words, he felt a tingling sensation in his whole being. Naruto's left eye twitched before he opened it up slightly. But suddenly, his eyes snapped open as he felt a spike of pain he never felt before. He screamed loudly as he clenched his chest in pain. What is this? He tried to stand up only to fall down and grit his teeth. What was this amount of pain he was feeling inside? And it wasn't just the pain either. He was also sensing negative chaos energy, and it was extremely powerful. It was coming from far away as well, yet he could still sense it from here. This large amount of negative chaos energy is similar to the amount of positive chaos energy he has. Once the pain disappeared, the demigod stood up from his spot, taking out his earbuds, and looked at the direction of where the negative energy was coming from. A shocked look came on his face. From here, he can see a purple pillar of light in a far distance, along with some dark clouds starting to form. What the? Naruto asked himself as he stared wide-eyed at the pillar of negative energy, trying so very hard to wrap his head around it. How the hell is there negative chaos energy in this world and from one so far away from his island? It was impossible. He's the only one in this world who has the power to control chaos energy. The Master Emerald starts to glow, interrupting Naruto's thoughts as he turns to it. Looking at it, the Master Emerald projected an image, letting Naruto see the source of where that light was coming from. On a small island just away from a bigger island. So that's where it's coming from, Naruto said with narrowed eyes. Chow. Naruto looked away and saw a couple of chow staring at the purple light with a scared expression on their faces. The animals themselves also looked worried too as they hid behind him, making Naruto frown for a moment. He heard gibberish coming next to him, making him look to the side to see a white wisp looking at him while pointing at the purple light, a worried look on its face. He looked up and saw some wisps, all of them looking scared or worried. Naruto turns his head, seeing Amachow flying to him and wailing his arms up and down comically as he flies around. Do you see that? That bright light. What is it? Where is it coming? Naruto covered Amachow's mouth, staring flatly at him in a comical manner. Yes, Omo, I see the light. I don't know what that light is, and I do know that it's coming from an island. Amachow frantically shook his arms up and down once more, though his mouth was still covered by Naruto's hand. Naruto looks at him and then down below at the others. Whatever that light is, it's really spooking everyone out, especially the chow, judging from their frantic cries of confusion and disbelief. Everyone, Naruto called out, loud enough to get everyone's attention. He smiled in reassurance at them. Don't worry, I'll find out what that light is. They looked at one another before turning to Naruto, who transformed into his chaos form. I'll see you later, okay? Naruto didn't wait for a reply as he jumped on the Master Emerald. He looks at the chaos emeralds that were on the pillars, wondering if he should take them or not. He wasn't dealing with an ordinary monster. He knows that that light was caused by someone. And from what he's sensing, they're powerful. Maybe more powerful than him judging from the negative energy he's sensing. I'll take them with me if it comes down to it. Naruto nods to himself. He starts to feel the positive energy from the Master Emerald flow through him just as the emeralds left their pillars and entered his being, all the while his eyes glowed a cyan hue. Like a rocket, he jumped high into the sky and got ready to do the technique that Shadow did during the Black Arms invasion. He knows it'll only last a few moments and he hasn't really mastered it all that well, but it will definitely be worth it. Chaos control. At breakneck speed, Naruto flew off across the sky, making a loud boom be heard, leaving Angel Island behind. It was then he realized that this will be the first time he ever left Angel Island to go anywhere. He will be going out there, into the wide open world that's below him. Sure, he did leave the island before, but it was only just to save people out at sea from monsters and pirates, then he have them turn the ships around and go back to wherever they came from. Honestly, he would have been excited to leave the island and to go on an adventure, but this matter was serious. Once he ran out of positive chaos energy, Naruto does a flip in the air before landing in the ocean, creating a large splash. But that wasn't enough as he was now surfing across the ocean at high speed, still thinking about the negative energy. This negative energy. It feels similar to mine after I met Chaos that night. Only it's more darker. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he went faster. No, it couldn't be. Twilight Island. Secret lab. The purple pillar eventually vanished, leaving the whole hidden lab covered in darkness, except for the occasional sparks that came out from the damaged keyboard. The computer suddenly turned itself revealing the old man, but no sounds came out from it. A figure's silhouette is seen in the light of the computer screen and it was in a kneeling position. The figure slowly stood up, not paying attention or caring about the glass tubes that held the Chaos Warriors. The figure turns around, ignoring the multiple colored puddles that seem to be releasing elemental wisps. As the figure slowly walked to the exit, 5 pairs of eyes glowed in the darkness and they were watching the figure. Yes. I know you're coming. Human-shaped purple eyes glowed in the darkness. Naruto. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.